Goals along with Winston Abraham, who came from Fremantle. So Kennedy's got the job on Carey early. Very open forward line for North Melbourne. They kick to the left of screen, basically playing McKernan and Carey only in the 50-metre arc. Carey at centre half forward and McKernan in the goal square. Ashcroft with the first kick out of the centre. First 5 or 6 minutes is going to be very interesting here. Good take for Lawrence. Can he finish with a goal? It's close. He's got it. Perfect. What about that?
Well, you can't hit a better start than that, can you? Whether or not they can build on that remains to be seen. But there's no doubt that one of the things Roger Merritt would have been emphasising to this team, and even as a team gathered prior to the game, one of the things they would have been talking about amongst themselves was getting a good start. Ashcroft kicked the ball free. They've started up with a very tall forward line. There's Champion down there, Keating's down there, Bradshaw's down there, Lepich is down there. But it was just that small player there, Lawrence, at the foot of the pack, who was able to finish. And that is a wonderful start because they are kicking against a very strong breeze.
Yes, and Dick Foss also playing up forward in the goal square. As out of the centre, the Lions try to go forward again. King gets the ball forward for North Melbourne.
They have won the only game here at the Gabba between these two teams, Brisbane. The kick forward there by Wayne Carey is missed. So the first score for North Melbourne, kicked by Wayne Carey, are behind. And it'll be interesting to see how quickly that ball comes back from the construction site at the back of those goals. There's the Brisbane Lions bench, and Brad Boyd quite prominent at the front there. Lappin's kick in has been missed there by Brad Scott. So North Melbourne will be a chance to score here. McKernan gets it back. Carey squeezes a kick out towards full forward. Opportunity here for Bell. Not able to gather the ball at first grasp. And eventually the umpire will bounce. About 20 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. North Melbourne kicking to the left of screen. Freeborn, Allison, Chandler and Craig Scholl warming the bench at the start of the game for the Kangaroos. They came up here at left Melbourne at about 10 o'clock this morning, so they've had plenty of time to relax and stretch out. McKernan tries a back kick. Clark, Lappin, now Clark again, and Clark's kick just away with the breeze, misses the playing arena by a long way. So the free kick will be taken down in front of us here by Winston Abraham. And what a sensational mark he took last week in Canberra. A contender, definite contender for Mark of the Year by Winston Abraham. We'll be looking for some...
we're looking for the ball.
Similar? Well, yeah, we are, yep.
Just guys on the interchange, just as Robbo said, Brett Chandler, Glenn Freeborn, Craig Scholl, and Brett Allison stayed on the ground until the very last minute and then ran off. And for Brisbane, Luke Power, Brad Boyd, Dion Scott and Scott Bamford.
Good on you, Matthew. Thank you for that. The kick towards full forward for North Melbourne at the back. Kennedy. Kick well smothered. Then his hand pass was all right. He found the safety of the boundary line.
Matthew, what's the breeze worth, do you think? North obviously have got it. What do you put it at?
Probably about 3 goals, Bruce. The flags are blowing direct down the ground, but it does swirl a bit and does blow towards perhaps the social club pocket.
So you can see there the flags indicating that just what Matthew Campbell has explained to us. And while that was happening, the ball locked in underneath there. The fans have gathered here. There are a few sparse areas here at the Gabba, but not a bad crowd, considering that the capacity of the ground at the moment is probably only about 18,000. Simpson beaten for it by Scott. Scott's left foot kick high in the air. Roberts, well done. Good player for North Melbourne last week. And he's marked within 50 metres.
He was really the wild card player last week, wasn't he? He got plenty of the ball. They had Carey covered up forward, but he came the main target when they did go forward, North Melbourne, last weekend. And he's been picked up by Andy Gowers tonight, so that'll be an interesting battle between those two players, both tallish, mobile players.
So the first goal of the game, kicked quickly from the centre bounce by Stephen Lawrence. Mark Roberts the chance to give North Melbourne the lead. It's a good kick. Wasn't that a smart kick? Away with the breeze, back in for a goal. So Roberts kicks North Melbourne's first goal. They lead 1-1 to a goal.
Well, Roberts has started what appears to be in the midfield. He has played on a number of occasions as the ruckman, really, because after the centre bounces, North Capuano's in there tonight, but on other occasions it's been perhaps Corey McKernan who's been in there, and then it's been Roberts who's actually run on the ball. And that'll be an interesting duel that between those two players.
Kangaroos 1-1, and the Lions a goal here. So Lawrence and Roberts the goal scorers. Capuano Who's going to be interesting, isn't he, in the next month or two as we go into the finals in the next 4 weeks with the big couple, McKernan and Capuano. King's kick back towards Kerry. Big mark. Got between Lappin and Kennedy. He's actually within distance with the breeze behind him. Sits it up in the goal square, wanting McKernan. McKernan can't get a crack at it. It's a goal. It's gone all the way for Carey for a goal. Well, Leppich and McKernan got tangled up, and Leppich was keen really just to hold McKernan out of it, wasn't he? And the ball was able to go all the way through.
But he quickly seized on that occasion, didn't he, Wayne Carey? He knew that there was a strong breeze behind him. What he actually did, he kicked for distance. He put the ball right up in the air, just hoping that the ball would be taken by the breeze. But it was really the way North Melbourne got the ball out of the centre again quickly. You have a defence immediately on the back foot and under pressure if you can win these critical centre bounce clearances.
Well, we saw a quick look there at the besieged Brisbane coach, Roger Merritt, but he'd be reasonably satisfied. Getting the first goal of the game was a terrific start. That mark taken by Pike across half-back for North Melbourne. But in answer to Stephen Lawrence's goal, North Melbourne have kicked too quickly. And now King kicks the ball towards full forward. Well done by Leppich. He read the play, came out and marked safely on his chest across half-back. Looks to transfer play, goes towards the members' side of the ground here at the Gabba, and his short kick now out wide, very wide. Lawrence just falling over at a critical stage there, Stephen Lawrence. Over the top, Robert Scott. Is that an infringement? Gee whiz, it could have nearly been deemed that way, but the umpire on this occasion has decided to bounce. Our umpires tonight are Darren Goldspink, Martin Ellis, and Derek Humphrey-Smith has the football just forward of centre wing and will bounce.
And Pickett's actually picked up Darryl White and finding himself at the moment at half forward.
Kick forward there by Tristan Lynch, but not all that effectively, and it will be thrown in on centre wing. Just a very mild evening here in Brisbane, expected to get down to about 8, currently 16 degrees. Blakey off the left foot, kicks towards centre half forward, 3-on-1. Kennedy from behind, Darryl White, Pickett the player, but Darryl White gets it away, and not bad either. Gowers is marked.
First game, as we said, for the season, the 41st player used by the club this year. Just one player hasn't been used off their list. McRae at half-back. This is interesting. Back to Leppich. Now, they've created a loose man here to Kennedy, and Kennedy can go over the top. Abraham's caught between a couple here, and he knows that Kennedy's going to run down the ground with a couple and then deliver to half forward. Now, can he get it all the way? Can Blakey get back? Not good play by the Lions. Brad Scott was on his own for a fair while, and Kennedy took a long time to get there, and Scott kept running further away from him.
It was smart play, though, by Abraham, wasn't it? He didn't commit himself to run at the player with the ball.
King to Capuano. At centre wing. Capuano, not good play. Bumped by Champion. Ricochets the ball away. Bell's handball okay. McCartney unloads and unloads with a long one. It may get away here from Leppich. Ball bouncing towards the pocket. Leppich gets back over the top again to Kennedy. Kennedy with not quite the space this time. Good looking kick wide to Tristan Lynch. He's got his man. He's marked outside the 50. So this is a promising build-up to McRae. Loose men everywhere to Brad Scott at centre wing. Can he get it on quickly into the breeze? He's got Sean Hart on his own in the centre. He's probably still going to come down the flank, I think. Matthew Clark has provided a short lead. Goes across to centre half forward. Dangerous kick if North can get hold of it. Archer tries to get a handle on it. Couldn't. Well done, Champion. Only as far as Martin to Blakey. Blakey squeezes one. You'd reckon North have got a chance here. Carey front spot. Kennedy to the right. A handball away there. Chance there from Brett Voss. His handball out into the spaces. Kennedy got a little bit nervous. Taken by Chris Scott. And Chris Scott at half-back onto the left.
Yes, not a bad kick, actually, by Chris Scott. He knew he was under pressure, but he kept it on the defensive side out wide. Now Ashcroft, he's kicking towards the half-forward area. Out too far in front of Dick Voss, which is interesting that he's on the half-forward line.
Well, they're playing a very tall forward line. They've got Dick Voss, Keating, Champion, Bradshaw, all marking players. They're really playing a four-man forward line at the moment, and Lawrence is playing up the ground. So those kicks are going to have to hit their targets because they don't have good ground level players down there.
Well, as far as confidence is concerned, the Brisbane side should have some of that. That little snippet of information on the screen showing you that North Melbourne won their earlier clash in this season by only 17 points. It's just up to them now. Gowers tries to get the hand pass wide, but it's blocked off well by Stevens. Stevens is a great in and under player. His kick will find the safety of the boundary line between wing and left half forward. Still probably 2 kicks from North Melbourne's goal. And interestingly, from that point of view, there is no one in North Melbourne's forward 50 area. Carey going back with Matthew Kennedy as the ball is thrown in. A big punch there by Gowers. Finds the boundary line, and it will be thrown in once again.
Well, the interesting thing is that Lepage has actually picked up Corey McKernan. Corey McKernan is now going for the throw-in, and Lepage has dropped off him, and now he's guarding the space in front of Carey. So if the ball goes down there, Carey will be competing against 2 players.
McKernan won it to Bell. Bell proceeds, good hands to Shannon Grant. Oh, that's a neat kick to the front of the square, going all the way. Can Carey get onto it? It's a behind, or is it a goal?
Goal.
It's a goal. It's a neat player, Shannon Grant, isn't he? He's had a sensational year, as Robbo said, a goal-kicking year. He's kicked goals in 15 of the 19 matches he's played in so far this season.
Well, he's kicked 33 goals for the year. It was just good finishing on his behalf there. Just watch this, Wayne Carey just believing that he was held. He actually looked back at the umpire after that ball went over the line. The two of them actually traded comments, and I'm sure what Carey was saying is, just don't let him hold me tonight, please.
Well, I'm sure Matthew indicated that it might have been about a 3 or 4 goal breeze, but the flag's blowing quite fiercely down to the end to which North Melbourne are kicking. They've kicked 3 against the Brisbane side's single goal at this stage, and we've still got 13 minutes left in the first quarter. Strong play by Pike. Off to Scott. Scott across his left shoulder. Not bad. Roberts is on the end of it. He's been crunched, and the umpire sees that as an infringement. What do you think, Tim?
Well, he's certainly taken high on that occasion, so there's no doubt about that. It had to be a free kick. Just got him over the shoulder, or a mark.
Well, the ball kicked across the line where King has marked for North Melbourne. Interesting article in the paper today from Chris McDermott about how we may have sanitised AFL football. We haven't got a lot of time to talk about that, but Chris McDermott was a tough player for the Crows and was a great player in AFL football. The ball out of bounds, left forward pocket for North Melbourne. They lead 19-6, and an indication there that they are quite potent up there on the forward line. Got plenty of people that can kick goals. Hart dragged off the ball, kick forward there by Harvey, and he's just missed off to the left to register a behind for the Kangaroos.
Only team in the comp to kick 2,000 points so far this year, and Brisbane's the only team in the comp to have 2,000 points kicked against them. So we've got the #1 team in attack playing the worst team in defence in terms of for and against so far this season after 18 rounds. Short there by Voss, gets it to Gowers. Good to see him back, but boy, he's been out for a long, long time. He's had 3 or 4 attempts to get back this season. Centre wing, Bradshaw, big fly, but in the front. That's a good mark. He's hurt himself too, Archer.
He appeared to hurt his knee as he landed.
Boy, now wouldn't North Melbourne...
Just watch this closely again.
Have a look at this. Oh. I tell you what, this would be heart in your mouth with Archer. If he's second, he's probably second only to Carey in terms of their lead up to the finals. He's going to try and run it out for the moment. Good mark by Lepage. Carey outnumbered. Archer's going to come from the ground, so this is a big story for North Melbourne. Archer coming off the ground. They haven't got the stretcher out, but he's going to limp off the ground, so North will be down for the moment, but the big story is just how he's going to recover from that mark that he took. White, the kick from Tristan Lynch, no free kick, and Pickett, as Archer bravely tries to get himself off the ground.
And North are quickly reshuffling too. Roberts is now going to go down and play on Bradshaw, but that looked particularly nasty the way he landed.
McKernan, Clark, out to Ashcroft. Ashcroft's handball over the top to Chris Scott.
Yes, well done, Chris Scott, who's been a good player for Brisbane so far this year. The kick towards half forward taken by Scott. Scott's kick just clean bowls the player there, Chris Scott, gathered by McRae. Well done, hand pass, sets it up for Champion. Champion round and kicks towards full forward. McCartney was good in the contest with Dick Foss. Back goes Capuano, and the short kick is all right. Roberts is marked very close to the boundary line. Little left foot kick, sets it up for Allison. Allison will run away from half-back. Kicks into the middle, but a poor kick in the finish, taken by Voss. Voss's kick towards half-forward, punched away strongly by Pike. Oh, down goes Hart. That was a solid bump by King. Too high, according to umpire Derek Humphrey-Smith. Another look, bang goes David King. And down went Sean Hart, but the tough little customer got up, and he will take his kick.
And Archer, it's a bit early to tell because they've taken him straight up the race into the rooms.
With Archer, thanks, Matty. Obviously, we want to try and keep on top of that one.
Why the discussion there, Tim, do you think, between Goldsmith? Well, the player's gone on. Hand pass went wide to Gowers. Gowers towards full forward. Chop, chance here for Champion, plays on.
Capuano was dragged to the ground.
Capuano's free kick. I was going to say Goldsmith got involved with that clash when Hart went to the ground. You wonder sometimes, don't you? Maybe he's a senior umpire and he saw something that was worthwhile discussing. Big punch by Gowers, and the boundary umpire will throw it in. 20 plays 6. North Melbourne have kicked 3 goals. The Brisbane Lions kicked the first goal of the game through Stephen Lawrence, but North lead by 14 points.
70 metres from the Lions goal. Capuano, good tap. King rode the bump very well. Got it to Harvey. Harvey in trouble. Just took a step too far. Kick was put under pressure. Blakey, free kick to Brisbane. No, not coming. Unlucky there, the Lions. Handball out wide by Blakey. Player still in trouble in the centre of the ground for Brisbane. It might have been Bradshaw, I think, as there's a free kick at half forward for North Melbourne. And it's going to...
The free kick's actually going to Carey.
Yep.
That was the collision there. Pickett crashing into Bradshaw.
And if that's not a free kick, well, you're not watching AFL football in 1998. And blood if I know, there's 3 umpires on the ground and you can't pick an infringement like that.
So Carey going for his second goal in the opening term. He kicks from 45 metres, guides it, and he likes it, and he's got his second goal for the first quarter.
That's his 55th goal for the year. He has been a super player for them down forward. He's going to alternate tonight. You see those 2 players on screen now, Corey McKernan and Wayne Carey. What they're alternating is with between the 2 full forward positions. We just watched this collision again. There's Pickett getting into, I would say, the head of Bradshaw. That certainly should have been a free kick to Bradshaw. That was just too high.
So Wayne Carey, who according to the sports book, the National Sports Book betting, was the second favourite to kick the most goals in this round at $8, has kicked 2 goals, and we've still got nearly 10 minutes left in the first quarter of this match. So he's going to be a threat if you've had something on Wayne Carey. The kick towards half forward, knocked forward by Darryl White. Lepich tried to just confront his opponent. He's still in there giving it a chance. It'll be run away by Hart. Hart's kick towards full forward. Well done. Good lead and a good pass. And Bradshaw has the ball as we see Brett Allison very groggy behind play. So there's been some fierce clashes here so far. Allison going to the bench. He doesn't look too good. So North Melbourne already with Archer, maybe with a knee injury. Allison with what looks like a bit of concussion. 2 down and just 2 left on the bench. Bradshaw's kick long towards the goal front. It's punched away, but not all that effectively. Swooping on it, Ashcroft. Back to Gowers, who's had a few touches. Gowers' kick across the face. It is marked. Is it paid to Dick Foss? Well, the umpire come in quickly. He's probably paid the mark.
No, he's paid the mark. There's no doubt about that. It was a reasonably intelligent kick by Gowers on that occasion. He just set the ball up in the air.
Dick Foss tries to create a better angle, succeeds in doing just that. And the mark is taken by Clark, who is perhaps a little further away from goal, but certainly has a better angle to shoot at goal from. They trail 1 goal to 4-2. If he can kick this, which he has, well done by Clark. They've kicked 2. A goal each to Stephen Lawrence and Matthew Clark for Brisbane in the first quarter. The end to which Brisbane are kicking, we feel, is definitely disadvantaged the Lions in this first term. And Allison smashed there by Leppich.
Yes, he was smashed there by Leppich, and he went straight off the ground. This is the kick by Gowers. It was a reasonably intelligent kick, although it ended up a little bit deep, but the square-up kick there by Dick Foss resulting in the goal. And Darryl White's the player who's been sent down to play as a spare man across half-back, and North are trying to get Pickett back down onto him just to keep him honest so that he can't just go to Wayne Carey when the ball has kicked in the air. There's also a game of ring-a-ring-a-rosy going on out there between Brett Voss, Lappin, Simpson and Harvey, as we see Allison just taking a rest on the bench.
Craig Scholl coming back too, Tim. 2 goals to 4-2, so a couple of very handy goals from the Lions. They might have been lucky with the mark from Dick Foss. Still in the heart of the centre square. Kernan tried to kick one over his head, couldn't get any leverage on it. Well done, Clark, who had it for a long time, eventually tackled to the ground. King finds a way clear, can't really get a kick onto it, and cut off there by Boyd. Good to see him back. Hamble out to Leppich. Nice little patch here for the Lions. Out to Bamford. Bamford at centre wing. So the Lions attacking and going to fall forward, but cut off there into the breeze by Simpson.
Bruce, just to mention, good news for the North Melbourne supporters. Glenn Archer is running the boundary line and seems fine.
Okay, Alistair, thanks very much for that. That's the big injury so far in the opening term. Pike out wide. Oh, too easily. Darryl White not good enough there. Pike, terrible kick, and Lynch is going to take the mark at centre half back. And Darryl White's going to be the lucky recipient out wide. He's got Lappin very short. Gets to him in his 99th game, only 22 years of age. McRae's handball cut off eventually by Harvey after Simpson was able to do the initial job, and Simpson to get back onto it. Been running into a bit of form, Simpson, the premiership player with the club. Shannon Grant in hard on Brett Voss. Number still with the Lions. Back to Lappin. Lappin to White. White to McRae. McRae right in front of our broadcast box. High ball to half forward. McCartney, champion, and Dick Foss probably got second or third touch, but played the mark. Quickly on to Gowers. Now one out here with Bradshaw and Blakey in the goal square. Bradshaw held on to, must get a free kick, doesn't. Play on call. McKernan wide. Pickett missed it. Now it's a hot footy, but Pickett's good enough. Goes over to Blakey. Gee, Bradshaw looked stiff a moment ago as Blakey kicks to the space. Nobody there. Lappin makes an error. Gets back, does all right, gets it to Kennedy.
Kennedy quickly towards half forward, but it's chopped off here by Pickett. Pickett for the North. Oh, that's a very ordinary thing to do. But anyway, the umpire quickly there. Pickett allowed to get away with that. Pike's on centre wing. Straightens up and kicks towards centre half forward. At the back, knocked away by Chris Scott. In trouble, Kennedy. Good hand pass under a little bit of pressure. Brad Scott to Chris Scott. And that kick, well, it may turn out to be all right. Dick Foss is 1 against 3, and that's about the right percentage play there by Danny Dick Foss. His assessment of what was around him was perfect, and he forces a throw in.
And the Lions doing very well in close as we just take a look down there at Glenn Archer, who has being attended to by the medical staff of the North Melbourne Football Club. You've got to remember that the North Melbourne side is kicking with the aid of probably a 4 or 5 goal breeze.
David King to swoop on that loose ball, straightens up, goes for an unattended goal, getting back. Abraham, by gee, I don't know whether that was touched. Did it hit the post? It might have been. Very nearly another goal to North Melbourne. We've got 5 minutes left in the first quarter. They've kicked their second behind. They are their third behind, actually. 4-3 to 2 goals straight to Brisbane. And the kick in to be done by Darryl White. Lawrence and Clark have kicked the Brisbane goals. Clark, well done. Gets it away to Boyd. Boyd goes down the ground, and Champion does well in front of Martin. He was very tight there, Michael Martin. Not much room for Richard Champion, but he took the mark. Kicks it away, out wide. Good running by Boyd. Looks to get past, then has to give it back to Bamford. Bamford off the left. Little kick in towards half-forward. Strong mark. Wasn't that a good mark by Ashcroft in front of Peter Bell? Perhaps too far out to score. Kicking into a very strong breeze. But he's got the football for Brisbane about 47 metres from goal. North Melbourne's goal kickers. Carey has kicked 2, Grant has kicked 1, and Roberts has kicked 1. Ashcroft going for Brisbane's third goal. It's there. It's covered the players on the goal line, and it's a goal. Well, haven't they gotten off to a great start, Brisbane? 3 goals into the breeze. They trail by 9 points.
And they're very fierce at the ball at the moment too, the Brisbane Lions. They're probably breaking even in the midfield with North Melbourne. Just watch this again, the way they actually protected the ball. There's a good block there by one of the Lions players on the North Melbourne player. I don't know whether it was a legal block or not, but he certainly stopped the run of the North Melbourne player. And in the end, they didn't really travel that far through the goals.
So the Lions buzzing a bit here. Scott Clayton on the right as we look at it to Roger Merritt, who, if you believe everything you've heard this week, they don't get on all that well. It's 3 goals to 4-3. It's 18-27. McKernan. We'll ask John Northey a few questions at half-time. It was interesting too, North Melbourne probably should have done better at the back there and touched that ball that went through it head high, and they were unable to get a hand on it. So some good defensive play. Dennis Pagan and Norm Dare, who would know this Brisbane club pretty well. 4-3 to 3 goals. So the Lions doing very well into the breeze here. Such an advantage to kick with the breeze. You've got to work so hard into it in the opening term and then try and take advantage of it coming back before half-time. Saw Brett Voss a moment ago. Now, there might be a free kick or a blood rule. I know the runners have been told to get out of it, I think.
Pike's now the player that's gone to the half-forward flank, and they're trying to entice White away from that hole in front of Wayne Carey at centre-half forward. The
AFL also saying during the week that they're going to be fining clubs for trainers and water boys for filling holes and being on the ground when they shouldn't be, and both the runners pushed out there. A hard handball for King to control. He's played a big first quarter. Got it from Roberts, kicks to full forward. Scholl attacked hard. Lappin back there. With him is Simpson trying to worry him out of it. Lappin with him, Abraham now. Lappin gets a quick kick away. Outside 50, Gowers. Taken by Freeborn. Freeborn trying to work his way into this team before the finals. King's kick just too far. Grant's handball was okay. Pearl was tackled very strongly from the back. Good signs here for the Lions. McRae to Lappin. Lappin out wide. King, by the way, 9 possessions early. Robbo tells me. Boyd. Free kick, is it for a high tackle?
Yeah, strong play there by Scott. Not quite sure which one it was, but I think it might have been Brad. And kicks the ball across the line where White gathers. Lepic now. No one really to kick to, so rather smartly just put it in the path of Darryl White, and this athletic, just terrific footballer Darryl White runs away, kicks it out for Kennedy. Kennedy may have thought that it wasn't his ball. Left it for Dick Voss. Little bit of a misunderstanding there. McCartney goes back to Robert Scott, and Scott will go bounding back by kicking the ball to Craig Scholl. Long hand pass. Pike, no one to kick to. Just took a little second or two, maybe too long. And the mark is taken back there for Brisbane by Chris Scott. And he's looking for a 50-metre penalty, but it's not happening. He's a strong player, Chris Scott. He was mentioned in the lead-up to this match with one of our credits as having suffered one of his worst defeats in football earlier in the season, and thinks that the Brisbane side lacks a bit of culture. Brad Scott kicks towards the wing, and it's against Corey McKernan, the free kick to Clark. A little risky to go into the centre right now, Tim, into the breeze. Goes short. Well done. He's presenting himself, isn't he, Danny Dick Voss, and doing well across the half-forward line for Brisbane. His kick in towards full forward. It's a mark to Boyd, certainly a mark. So the chance for Brisbane to get their 4th goal into the breeze, and if he's successful, they will trail by just 3 points. At present, the Roos 4-3 lead the Lions 3 goals.
Well, he was a super player, wasn't he, Brad Boyd, for the Fitzroy side, but he's struggled since he came up here to Brisbane because of injury. And already tonight in this first quarter, he's just shown glimpses of what was seen from him in the past. We know he's a tall, running, midfield-type player, and he will certainly be a plus.
Well, it's a good kick. Swings with the breeze across the face and scores Brisbane's first behind. 3-1. The Lions trail the Roos 4-3. 8 points is really not what North Melbourne would have been looking for. Maybe closer to a 3-goal advantage. We've got a minute left.
And there was a good sign there a moment ago too with Glenn Archer just appearing to be stretching and getting himself ready to come back on the field.
McKernan was the target. He hasn't really been able to have an influence early. Clark's done pretty well. It comes down to Chris Scott. Just took too long. Did get a kick away, though. Dick Foss, courageously well done. McCartney, though, not to give a free kick away and affect a spoil. Pickett's kick to the boundary line. Boundary throw in.
I reckon the Lions are matching North Melbourne in that hard crunching area at the moment, which is what North Melbourne actually prides itself on, being one of the hardest teams in the competition at the ball. The Lions are probably just holding sway in that department at the moment.
McKernan worked Clark under the ball then. Stevens wanted the boundary line. Boyd pushed forward. Simpson's little kick taken by Chandler. Chandler low, but Champion's got it at centre wing. It's been on Mickey Martin for a fair bit of the first quarter. In the game, but Champion has been pushed forward this season. He's kicked a dozen goals so far this season. Kicks it in short to Kennedy. Kennedy is running off Carey. We're deep into the first term here. The Lions will be pretty happy to hold it at 3-1-4-3, but they may be able to improve it. Little kick to half forward. McRae kept his eye on it. No free kick paid. Back to Shannon Grant. Back in board to Blakey. What a great player Blakey is. Durable as he kicks the ball to centre wing over the top of Scholl and also Lepage getting back wide, and the Lions will be happy with the opening term and the crowd respond. They've been a very poor first quarter team this year. They've won just 5 out of their 18 first quarters, but in a way you'd give them a tick for that, wouldn't you? At 3 goals 1 to 4-3. There's King and Carey. King having plenty of the footy in the first quarter, Carey with a couple of goals. But the Lions have done well here, and at quarter time they trail 3-1 to 4-3.
They just didn't have much of the ball at all in that first quarter, North Melbourne. Just 17 handballs, 46 kicks. They are an efficient side. The Lions had plenty of the ball, but they'll now kick with the aid of the breeze in this second quarter, and it'll be North Melbourne that actually has to run the ball forward.
Start of the second term on Friday night football at the Gabba. McKernan with the first build out of the centre and goes forward. Lepage, who had a lot of the footy in the opening term, went to ground. Scholl pushes forward. Lions have had good numbers around the ball tonight. Abraham got a high tackle and gets a free kick and may get 50. No, Darren Goldspink saying that the Brisbane player, or thinking that the Brisbane player wasn't aware of the whistle. Notice just a moment ago, Tim Carey was at centre half forward. Pike was at half forward. He pushed Pike, told him to come over and stand close to him. He's really, I think, unhappy about the setup up forward at the moment and being their general.
Well, when you are kicking against a breeze, it's so much easier for the defenders to actually read where the ball's going to go.
Abraham's looking for Carey. Can he get it that way? Carey tries a chest mark, goes to ground, gets back to Scholl, but they're still outside 50. Haven't really gained a lot from the Abraham kick. Hooks it back in. Important to play in front here. Abraham's little toe poke forward. Great play, though, by Ashcroft to get it to Chris Scott. Back to Lappin. Belts it forward. Just about as good as a kick as it gets to centre wing. Roberts, handball in board. Martin high tackle. Must get a free kick, and he does. There have been some careless attacks on the players tonight.
Not such a bad free kick, though. If it had got past, Martin was down the ground.
Mickey's kick towards full forward, and Clark, who's been very, very good, has taken the mark.
And I think if you can hold it up, that's the sort of thing that can happen. The big ruckman gets back and marks, and well done by Gowers. Got rid of his opponent there in Roberts. Roberts comes back to confront Gowers. Still a contest on centre wing. Gowers' little kick, chopped off here by Pickett. Pickett's kick will be marked, and well marked by Darryl White. Backs himself, then gives the hand pass away to Boyd. Boyd quickly to Chris Scott. He's in a bit of strife. Still Boyd. Quick hands, very quick hands, and terrific play. Again, McRae, maybe they're a little overzealous with their endeavour to try and impress everyone. In a besieged club, they just seem to be trying a little bit too hard. They trailed 19-27. They now have to build on a very good first quarter and work industriously, going with the breeze to the left of screen. Stevens knocks it forward for North Melbourne. Kick forward then by Freeborn to a half-forward area where it was gathered by Pike, taken by White. Simpson is there. He gets the hand pass away. Now the advantage is with North Melbourne. Abraham shot for goal. It's long into the square. Helped to the back there by Kennedy and his fellow defender. In through for a rush behind. Well done by Justin Lepage to give a bit of a chop out there to Matthew Kennedy.
And Robbo, just to bring you up to speed on the bench, neither coach made a change at quarter time. For North Melbourne, Archer, Capuano, Harvey and Allison. For Brisbane, Keating, Power, Scott and Sean Hart.
A rush behind to the Kangaroos. McRae to kick in, that's Brad Boyd. Just giving some sort of direction. Still a bit of indecision here by Craig McRae. Now he decides to go long. Gets it well outside 50 and does it well. Leppich drops what he should have taken. Definitely a 1998 AFL footballer. Lapping to Boyd. Boyd been a very good league player. Long kick in towards the full forward area. Puts the Kangaroos defence under pressure. Champion and Martin. Martin gets the handball away to Scott. McCartney a little fumble. Then kicks it short. Chandler under pressure. Well done, Dick Foss. Good play there by Bell. Forces a boundary throw in. North by 9 points early in the second term.
Well, North had a lot of quiet midfielders in that first term. Stevens was down on possessions, just 2. Scott had 3. Bell had 3 handballs. Grant had 2. They've got to get more from Corey McKernan. He's only had 1 handball so far tonight.
Boyd went to ground, taken by Lawrence. Handball inside, looking for Ashcroft. Here's Stevens against the flow and happy to concede it behind.
They just haven't looked sharp at all, North Melbourne, tonight, have they? And that's not taking anything away from the Lions, who've been very good in close, and they've been getting the numbers at the ball, at the fall of the ball too.
And that gives you a bit of an indication of the heat of the moment when a very good steady player like Anthony Stevens is prepared to rush it through for a behind.
Blakey, Roberts front spot, Gowers at the back of him, Lappin uses the hip on Chandler, and again a boundary throw in. So McKernan and Capuano are changed there. Tight game here, 3-2-4-4. Have a look at that. The last time North was beaten was by the bottom team in the competition, Hawthorn. As we know, anything is possible in this competition. There are no bad teams. Teams just have bad nights. Brisbane have had a few of them in a row, I know all of that, but they're certainly capable. They've beaten St Kilda in Melbourne this year and Geelong at Cardinia Park. Scholes, high ball. He's only hoping here, North outnumbered, but Scott tried to build it away. Carey tried to push on. Abraham tries to get through, couldn't quite. Kick off the ground was in danger. I think it's a fair decision.
So do I, Bruce.
They don't often play them though, do they?
But that was terrible.
Bell's kick to Carey. Couldn't make it. Lynch, Carey. Carey hanging onto it and holding the footy. Again, a good decision. He was holding it underneath.
Just going back to that Matthew Kennedy kicking in danger, it was just so indiscreet. Just a terrible.
But the umpires often don't actually pay that free kick. And I think it's one that should always be paid, because if it's not, it just seems to encourage that type of error from the
reckless play, isn't it?
Certainly. And Craig Scholl will put the Brisbane side's defence under pressure. Carey, Darryl White, and helped over by Lappin for a rush behind. And still Wayne Carey looks appealingly at the umpire.
Well, he drew 3 players on that occasion, didn't he? They're getting back in numbers. They're dropping off their direct opponent, the Lions defenders, and they're going back to Carey. Just watch this. 3 of them right near the contest. He almost took hold of the ball there under extreme pressure there from Kennedy.
So the kick in, the contest now here between Stevens and Ashcroft. Stevens grabbed by the jumper. The umpire saw that and he plays on quickly, kicks towards half foot. Kennedy made the football his, then tackled Chandler, which wasn't bad play, but it falls to Scholl. Scholl to Roberts. Roberts in turn to Martin Pike. Pike goes for goal. He's done it well, hasn't he? That's a good goal. Kicked there by Martin Pike. Against the trend, they have forced and forced and forced, and eventually Pike gets through for North Melbourne's 5th goal.
And that really is indicative of the way we see North Melbourne players. We see Kennedy coming out, wasn't able to grab hold of that ball. It was a quick release there by Chandler and then Scholl, but they just had numbers around the ball. They were unable to feed it off, and then it was Pike who just an intelligent finish in there, because it's not easy to kick goals from there. You're quite a fair way out from goal. There's a breeze blowing against him, but he just held the kick up well.
Harvey's come on for Burl, so North making a change, 35-20. Handy little break, Brisbane with the breeze, but they're going to have to make it work for them. King hurled up, and again it's going to be a bounce down. So Grant off also for McKernan, so big player on for the smaller Grant. Dick Foss, who's played up forward tonight, hasn't had his best season. He's been so consistent since playing for the Lions at a mature age. Clark down to Boyd, only as far as Abraham. Abraham at centre half back, and then gets good distance into the breeze, wants McKernan. He draws 3 players, much like Carey has tonight. Kennedy gets the ball back to centre wing. Abraham with a chance to do something here. He's got Harvey decides to go very short. That's a poor option. Don't know what he was thinking there, and Boyd was able to cut it off. When you're going to play short into the breeze, you're going to have to be very, very accurate. Now Boyd looks for Scott. Well, free kick against Chandler there. Eyes not for the footy, but it was a pretty fair attempt by Chandler to spoil Scott. Scott's got the free, about 90 metres from goal. Need an early goal here, Brisbane, to maintain the momentum they had before quarter time. They've got to find a way home. Scott drawing a man, gives it to his twin brother and Chris. Chris on his left foot decides to caress it with a centering kick to centre half forward. Chance for Dick Foss, little kick away, didn't go far. Martin gets back, doesn't really have much to kick to and decides to go straight down the centre, wanting a big mark, belted away at the back. Leppich was there. Abraham worked off it cleverly by McRae. Back to Scott, back to Leppich, in trouble. Well done, McKernan. Leppich, who's been a bit slow to react in this quarter. Back to McRae, good handball inboard. The vision was good. North Melbourne do well to cut it off. Harvey caught by Voss, and it's got to be a bounce. Didn't have an opportunity. Crowd don't like it. Good decision. It's 35-20. Some good in-close footy, wasn't it, from both teams?
It's very tough out there at the moment. It's probably not pretty football at the moment, but both sides are really engaged in a tight contest at ground level.
Well, a struggle here at half forward, but it's going to be taken away here by David King. Gets good distance with the kick back towards half forward. Gathered here by Kennedy. He's just a little bit tied up there, but able to get the hand pass out to Darryl White. Back onto his right. Darryl White's kick down the line, very well weighted. At the back there was Tristan Lynch. Couldn't control the marking attempt against Glenn Freeborn, and he's being spoken to by the umpire. There's the scoreboard. That will tell you that North Melbourne lead by 15 points.
And I was just about to say, Wayne Carey getting very frustrated down there in centre half forward.
Well, it's one of those nights, a strong breeze, and you're going to get some real good chances going with the breeze, but it's going to be difficult. The end to which North Melbourne are going in this second term. Lawrence was just absolutely bamboozled by that oval ball there, and North Melbourne from centre wing, Freeborn's kick, chopped off here by Darryl White. No, he dropped the mark. Carey. So still some mistakes being made. Pike. Now Anthony Stevens runs past Tristan Lynch onto his favoured left side, kicks it high to within scoring distance. Up goes Robertson White. Back goes Lappin. Simpson. Handball to Roberts. Good. Very good. Hit the post. A very good opportunity there set up by Adam Simpson has gone begging. Mark Roberts hitting the woodwork. 36 plays 20. North Melbourne lead halfway through the second term.
Comes White. That was interesting, Tim. The ball might come back. North with no forward line at all. They just had to go laterally across the ground before they could seize an opportunity to get some players back to at least contest a mark.
But that's right. But then they just screamed into those opening spaces, and they're unlucky not to actually score a goal on that occasion. And it was Simpson who did so well out here and won the ball in front of us on wing position, and then it was he that almost set that goal up again.
Gee, Lappin's kick, second kick, not touched, so it's going to be a kick by North Melbourne. Coming back in at about 60 metres. It'll go to Chandler, I think. So Chandler, outside range, high ball. Wanting Carey or McKernan. McKernan front spot. Well done, Kennedy. They belt it back to about 50. Clark comes away. He's in best and fairest form, isn't he? As he kicks the ball out wide to Champion. Champion centering kick to Chris Scott. This is interesting. There's no North Melbourne players after Mickey, and Mickey Martin belts it towards the line. He was the last man standing, literally, and finds the boundary line.
Bruce, I think it's a very important time for the Lions, obviously, now at this stage. I mean, we're probably playing well in the midfield and the back line. We've just got to probably convert a few opportunities now that we've got the win. Interesting move, probably later in the quarter, maybe Dion Scott or even Clark Keating, the centre half forward.
Thank you for that. Alistair Lynch, co-captain of the club, on the boundary tonight with Matthew Campbell.
And we believe that North Melbourne have been very active on the interchange bench. They've made 10 changes. They've been forced into a couple through Allison and Archer being taken from the ground through injury. But on the other hand, Brisbane have only used the bench twice.
Corey McKernan getting frustrated too. Hasn't been able to take a mark tonight, and showing on that occasion.
Pretty straightforward though, wasn't it? Bamford has the football. He's at centre half back on the Brisbane cricket ground. He's kicking towards the middle, taken here by Pike. Pike's left foot kick towards full forward. Gee, this will be interesting, the bounce of the ball here. Kicked by McKernan. It's a great kick. Soccer stuff, but it's a goal. Corey McKernan kicks his first goal for the game. And when it looked as though it was rather ominous signs at quarter time for the Kangaroos, they've kicked the first 2 goals of the second term.
Well, they're really working hard in the midfield. They're really clogging up the Brisbane Lions in that area. Then they're trying to keep their own forward line open. But it was a poor kick there by Bamford. One of the rules in football is you don't kick to a 50-50 in the centre of the ground. That's what he tried to do, pinpoint a pass going forward when the long kick would have been the better option.
6-6 to 3-2. McKernan, that might lift him a bit, Tim. He has been struggling. Slowly but surely, North hoping he can run into form before the finals. Bell got it from Capuano, and a good mark in the front from Simpson, who's been pretty good. Kicks it hard to the goal square. Marked by Pike. It's a good kick by Simpson. He saw him there and he belted it as far as he possibly could. And Pike, in this term in particular, up forward, has been very, very handy.
Well, he's the player they've sent down there because Darryl White's been floating, and they've tried to keep him honest by playing Pike down there as a marking target. And he has been working hard.
Remember way back at the time he was at Melbourne when he kicked all those goals in the final series. That off the boot looked dreadful, and he has missed. It's a behind. It's a very windy night, so it's a lot easier up here than down there, and he has been good, Pike, but that's a bad miss. So Roberts hit the post. We'll have a look at this one. It went everywhere, but straight. Coming back, though, but not coming back enough. 6-7 to 3-2. McRae to bring it back in. They're having problems here, the Lions.
Yes, they've only kicked a point so far in the second term. Their first quarter was very good. McRae to himself and then kicks it long outside his defensive 50-metre area. Roberts gets a right hand to it. Went after it again. Bradshaw. Now Stevens out to Capuano. Capuano into the pocket. Great leap and mark by Craig Scholl. Not a bad quality player, really, to have on the interchange bench at the start of the game and bring on when one of your good players gets injured.
But what a terrific ball there, won by Anthony Stevens in a critical situation when the Lions had the numbers at the fall of the ball. He was able to actually trap the ball.
Well, Craig Scholl going for his first goal of this match. You can see there, just under 10 minutes left. Pretty good kick too. Straight over the goal umpire's head. It's a goal. So a good start to the second term for the Kangaroos. They've kicked 3 goals, 4 to just a point so far in this quarter.
Hasn't enjoyed his best year of football, Craig Scholl, but he's been one of those goal kickers up forward for North Melbourne. They've got 5 players now in their forward combination who've actually been able to kick 20 goals or more this season. That gives you some indication of their attack power.
So Scholl, who in the last 2 seasons has kicked 75 goals, 35 and 40, gets his 20th. And as Tim just said, he's the 5th North Melbourne player this season to kick 20 goals. The only other club that can boast that this year is the Western Bulldogs at this point. North on top here. They've taken a stranglehold. 7-7 to 3-2. Lappin to Lynch. Boyd couldn't quite break the tackle. Back to Dick Foss, to Ashcroft. Ashcroft to fall forward. A bit of a wrestle there. Dion Scott getting back was Byron Pickett. And he's happy to run the ball over the line.
Bruce, just an update with the Lions. They've a bit of injury problems. They've had Gowers come off with a sore back and Leppard just come off with a knock to the knee. So it doesn't look good at this stage for numbers.
Yes, Hart definitely won't come back, will he, with a hamstring. And Archer, we're still just waiting and waiting to see what his status is. He went off early with a knee, and that is going to be a huge talking point for North Melbourne, whether he has done himself some serious damage or not. Ashcroft's handball was quick. Pushed forward by Clark, who got it from Boyd. A high ball by Lynch. Up in the air, not going too far. Dick Foss, good mark. Kept his eye on it, had a couple to beat, and always looked a chance, and has taken the mark. Now, this is interesting, Tim. He's played 60 games of league footy, and he's never kicked a goal.
Well, he's played most of his football in the back half, but he's been pretty good down in the forward part of the ground tonight. Took 3 marks in the first quarter.
So will he kick his first goal in AFL football? From 50 metres out. It's a hook, and it's a behind.
In the good old days, you would have been able to say that he kicked like a defender, but so many players playing so many different positions in modern-day football. As we see there, the Brisbane Lions, their last goal in the first quarter, the 25-minute mark, and we would have expected that they may have scored quite heavily in this quarter because I thought they played particularly well held sway perhaps in the midfield in the first term, and they are kicking with a strong breeze in the second quarter.
Kick in for the Kangaroos goes wide to left half back. Lawrence over the top. The umpire decides on a bounce right in front of the Brisbane Lions social club area. And gee, there's a lot of facetious signs up here at the Gabba tonight. Obviously having a bit of a crack at administration, board, and let's hope that maybe on the field the players and the coach can get it all together. They did play so very, very well in the first quarter, and they kicked 3 goals, 1 against the breeze to the Kangaroos 4 goals, 3. But the Kangaroos with 3 goals to just 3 behind so far in this second term control this match 7-7 to 3-4. Not a high-scoring game, so the Lions not that far out of it. Good mark taken in the pocket here by Power.
And that's a move that was just made then by Roger Merritt. He took Clark from the field. Power came on, just trying to get a mismatch, I guess, against the ruckman. On that occasion, it was Capuano. He wasn't quite sure whether or not that was the bloke he was supposed to be picking up. He actually saw Clark leave the field, though.
I think this young fella is a left footer, and it favours him in that pocket. He just sits it up with the breeze, and it's knocked over. The North Melbourne defenders prepared there to concede a behind, the 5th behind to Brisbane. They trail 3-5 to 7-7, so the margin 26 points, 7 minutes left in the second term, and David King to kick the ball back for North Melbourne. Just the goal umpire giving King the all clear to bring it back in, and he goes to the far side once again, gets good distance. Good mark taken in the front by Jason McCartney.
Played every game this year until he was suspended, and Dennis Baden showing a lot of faith. 3 matches out, straight back in. Hewitt missed out. Mark taken by Stevens, having a better patch here now, isn't he, Stevens? Has lifted. Centre wing, high ball. McKernan's a target, Champion there, belted away. White's got the crumbs, handball wide was good to Bamford. Bamford between half-back and centre wing, goes for distance, gets it to half-forward. Dick Frost, strong mark. He's been all right, Danny, hasn't he? He's taken a couple of good marks in this quarter. Might have been a fraction lucky to get one in the first term, but it was paid. And quickly on to full forward, Martin over the back is Keating. Keating should kick a goal. Hasn't quite been able to get a handle on it. Gets it back to full forward. McRae's little, Power's little kick, I should say, and forced over from behind. So Keating, who hasn't had very much match practice at all, he's one of a number of players coming in tonight. In fact, it's his first match at this level in 10 weeks. He's only played 3 senior games this year, and he just couldn't quite get it. 3-6 to 7-7.
Well, if they can get 2 goals and maybe keep the Kangaroos goalless for the rest of this first half, it'll be a pretty good contest in the second half. Roberts comes away from half-back, kicks to half-forward, not quite up to half-forward. Craig Scholar's mark. He kicks quickly, but sets it up. Getting back there was McKernan, knocked away by Champion. McKernan, good recovery to Anthony Stevens. His kick across the face of goal, and just sneaks it through for a behind. Kicked by their dynamic midfielder, Anthony Stevens, who's now had 7 possessions so far in this match. Kick in. Well, waiting for it. Just a mortal sin, wasn't it, by McRae. Abraham, he's got the footy and kicks it out on the full. So what does that deem? Just a free kick kicking out on the full against Winston Abraham. It'll be taken by Darryl White. Not quite down to left half back. Looked slow motion stuff, didn't it? Football with Darryl White. He's had a few touches. He's 13th possession to Bamford. Bamford from between fullback and centre halfback just cocks it up too easily.
That's
David King is marked.
That's his second poor kick in this quarter.
The kick in towards full forward, and it's just going to be so costly because Carey has it, and you would think that Wayne Carey could kick the distance from here. The player on the mark is about 40 metres from goal.
Those kicks from half-back are critical in football. They just have to hit their targets. A turnover now resulting in North Melbourne having a shot at goal.
Carey's kick 2. Goes for goal. It just floats away with the breeze and registers a behind. 2 goals, 2 to Wayne Carey. Scoreline for North Melbourne, 7-9 to 3-6. So 27 points is the advantage for the Kangaroos. 5 minutes left in the first half.
McRae long gets it well and truly outside 50 up to centre wing. Scott at the back, pushes it back between his legs, gets a free kick, advantage given. King onto it, got it from Freeborn, kicks to the pocket, and Bell's mark. This is the difficult pocket to score from, though, into the teeth of the breeze. Saw Carey's kick a moment ago held up in the wind. So this will take a really good kick from Peter Bell. It's about a goal a match, man, Bell. It's been good, hasn't he, Peter Bell, coming from Fremantle. This to give North Melbourne a big lead before half-time. Doesn't make it. The kick to fall forward, belted away and forced through. So it's 7-10 to 3-6 here. And that pocket is really difficult to score from. Brad Scott, 24 to 52. Ashcroft goes short this time. Bamford, who has made a couple of kicking errors in this term, gets back to McRae. McRae's got Scott wide. Now Kennedy's on here. If he goes to him quickly, he does. The kick to Kennedy's not a good one. Gives Chandler a chance. That's poor footy. Back to Carey. Back to Chandler. Chandler just belts it onto the boot. McKernan's in the box seat. He's got it, McKernan. It could go on quickly. Roberts is in the pocket. He goes across the ground. Goes for Pike. Doesn't get to him. Back to Bell. Bell 50 metres out. Wobbly old kick to fall forward. Roberts there, well done by Bradshaw, and out of play. Wrong option probably, because Abraham was further on a moment ago. And boy, Brad Scott's kick was ordinary, wasn't it? It took forever to get to centre wing and gave Chandler every chance.
Well, it's those unforced errors that have been cost. You see Justin Leppich there on the interchange bench.
Well, it really shouldn't be here, should it? The football should be down in Brisbane's scoring area. McKernan's kick, it's going to be marked by Chandler. Handball over the top. This is an easy goal. Kicked by Shannon Grant, his second. Well, if you're coach of a football team, you just wouldn't want to see that. 8-10 to 3-6 just before half-time, and it was too easy in the finish to the Kangaroos.
They've really had trouble clearing the ball, though, on the kickouts, the Lions, haven't they? It just hasn't gone down the field with any surety or any positiveness, and that's been a problem for them in this second term.
So Shannon Grant, with just his second kick, has now kicked 2 goals. Can't get much better return than that, and gives North Melbourne a 34-point advantage close to the long break. Lawrence still in there, close to the centre bounce area. And Anthony Stevens trying to work hard to clear that congestion. The umpire's found a free kick here.
He's paid against him for throwing the ball.
Well, you wouldn't believe it. He's just absolutely disgusted. The man in and under trying to make the play, penalised for throwing the ball, and the free kick to Ashcroft. Ashcroft, 9th possession coming up to Marcus Ashcroft. He's kicked towards full forward. Just a little bit too high there for his key forwards. Capuano to get back. Then Bell kicks it back towards the middle of the ground. The mark should be taken, not by Ashcroft. Well provided the pressure by Simpson. Ball spills out wide to Pike. Pike's handball into the path here of David King. It'll sit for this player. He may go for goal. He's going to get run down. Got the handball away. Does he get penalised for that? No. He tries to kick it in mid-air. Still a contest provided. They're back there by Brad Scott. Then taken over by Tristan Lynch. Shannon Grant, the North Melbourne player, to apply the pressure. It is out of bounds in the right forward pocket for North Melbourne. Good chase provided by Darryl White. 58 plays, 24. McKernan at the back champion. Now Lappin quickly onto his left foot, kicks it wide, bounces awkwardly. Power over the top with Stevens and forces a throw in.
You're just getting the impression that perhaps the Lions have fired their best shot tonight.
34-point margin just before half-time, so a big quarter into the breeze. The Lions with 3 goals into the breeze in the opening term and none in this quarter, so it's been all North Melbourne. Powers handball to Dion Scott. Positive handball, that's better, to Chris Scott to full forward. Much better build-up, Keating front spot. G. Pickett did a good job against the centimetres there. Scott to Martin, fierce tackle by Lawrence, puts him under the hammer. Chris Scott back, Keating ducks and gets a free kick. Well, might have been high. He ducked down and the tackle came, and he got a free kick for over the shoulder Keating. So he really should kick the first goal for the Lions deep into the second quarter in this second term.
And Bruce, North Melbourne are just dictating the way that they want to play this game in this second term. They've really clogged up the midfield. They're very good in close, and they like to have their power ball players in there, and that's exactly what they're doing. And then they're just kicking to a very open forward line.
Keating's kick coming back. He's got it. It helps a bit, doesn't it? Not long to go. They need another one. It'll give them momentum if they can get just one more before half-time.
They worked so hard in the first quarter. They really matched North Melbourne, but in this second term, they haven't been prepared to work as hard, and they haven't been able to get their players, their midfield players, their important players in this midsection of the ground. They haven't had enough of the ball.
So back at the Gabba with just under 2 minutes left in the first half. Brisbane have kicked their fourth goal through Clark Keating, but they still trail by 28 points. It's very important that they try and scrounge another goal before half-time. It's going to be a scrounge because North Melbourne have been lousy so far in the first half, and they're working industriously trying to break away from that centre circle area under their Chandler. As John Blakey waits for his chance, it may not be forthcoming. The seconds ticking away in the first half. North lead by 28 points. Carey has kicked 2 goals, and Shannon Grant from just 2 kicks has kicked 2 goals as well. Chris Scott overruns the ball. Ashcroft still in underneath there, tackled well by Chandler, not giving away a free kick. The umpire will bounce.
Blakey on for Capuano. Ball just slightly in North Melbourne's attacking area, 30 to 58. There's a blood rule here for Stevens.
Peter Bell's had a big second quarter too, Bruce. Just 3 possessions in that first term. He's had 8 in this term, so they've really picked up in that midfield section. Stevens has had a better second quarter. Simpson's been good across the middle too.
Harvey coming on. John Northey will be our guest at half-time. There's Lappin and Brett Voss.
Certainly, Bruce, I think North have picked up in the midfield, but I think what's hurt the Lions in this second quarter is just the turnovers. Guys have lost a lot of confidence to run forward, and we're getting cut up with the turnovers on the way back.
Alistair Lynch on the boundary tonight with Matthew Campbell. Harvey's kicked back towards centre half forward. Kennedy, good job there against Carey. Belted forward by North by Freeborn. Belted back by the Brisbane Lions. McKernan's handball. King's trap was fantastic. Beautiful handball to Simpson, and he's kicked it out on the full. Gee, King's work was good then to get it to Simpson in confined spaces, and Simpson missing the lot. They've done well, North Melbourne, into the breeze. They've been able to kick 4-7 to 1-5. Look at King here, really clever to get the ball out and give Simpson a fairly good chance, and he made a bit of a meal of it. McRae's kick over the top of McKernan, taken by Bradshaw, well held up there by Robert Scott though, unable to get away. Dion Scott, there's lots of Scotts out there tonight. Robert to Pickett, Pickett at about 48 metres, keeps the ball low, punches hard, and Lappin getting back. It was a good kick by Pickett. You could see the thought process. He knew he had a chance. He leant back and belted it down low and gave it all he's got. And Lappin, probably just about a metre before the line, was able to belt it over. So 8-11 to 4-6 right on half-time. This is what Tim was talking about earlier, just the problems that the Lions have had getting the ball clearly from the kick-outs. They've had real problems getting it to a man. And Lawrence's handball to Ashcroft, and that's the end of the first half. So I wonder what the Lions have got after half-time, because North Melbourne's taken a lot of the spirit out of them in that second quarter. They were very, very professional in the way they went about kicking into the breeze, and they really have dampened this early attack from Brisbane. It's 4-6 to 8-11. So Lions having real trouble here, putting the pressure on with the breeze in the second quarter. All's not lost. It is a low-scoring match. John Northey will be our guest after the break.
Did walk around the boundary line, get ready to come back on as though there's nothing wrong, only to find out later in the week that they actually do have a very serious knee require a serious knee operation.
So we start the second half, and that's obviously going to be of huge concern to North Melbourne fans right around Australia. 4-6 to 8-11. Brisbane into the breeze. They need 3 goals like they got in the opening term to have a chance here. They'd want to be within 4 at three-quarter time. Kick out wide by Stevens. He had a good second quarter. Freeborn and a boundary throw in. Gee, Gowers has had a run, hasn't he? As Craig Schell, Gowers has waited all this time to make his, Leppich I should say, make his way back.
Terrible.
And
shocking bad luck. Goes
with another injury. He's had heaps of back and hamstring problems, and he must be wondering if it's all worth it. Capuano's handball cut off by Ashcroft, who, well, if he gets injured, just keeps on playing. He hasn't missed a match for about 6 seasons. Abraham's kick. He wants Grant in the centre. It's going to be a hard ball to mark. Ball bounces in favour of North Melbourne. Scholl back to King. King quickly onto the boot. He wants the other King in the match, but it was belted away from Kennedy, by Kennedy. He's done a reasonable job here. Bradshaw, just not hard enough there, North at Bradshaw. And the kick around the corner there by Brad Scott. Out wide, Chandler. Robbo thumping the desk down the end, and a boundary throw in.
Just the decisions in the middle of the ground there, Tim. There were 2 or 3, and they just take the wrong option. Brad Scott had a chance to maybe straighten up and give the hand pass to the player in the middle of the ground instead of just being forced in the finish to kick quickly, and a nothingness happens for Brisbane.
Robbo, just the bench for the 2 respective sides. For North Melbourne, Harvey, Archer, Pickett and Allison. And for Brisbane, Hart, Gowers, Leppich and Dion Scott, probably the only one that's fully fit.
Well, they're right down, aren't they? Both sides have suffered through injuries in the first half of this game. This football gathered by Abraham. Now, it sounds
in the back,
much to the delight of the Brisbane side, that it's a free kick to Tristan Lynch for a push in the back. His kick will land close to centre-half forward. At the fall of the ball, Lawrence not able to break away. Kick forward by Lappin. Just bounces inside the boundary line. And it will be thrown in up against the behind post in the right forward pocket for Brisbane. Allison, we know, was hit heavily in the first quarter. Archer, we suspect, with a knee injury, left knee injury. And maybe the other 2 players sitting on the bench can have something to do with it. But Brisbane, on the other hand, according to Matthew Campbell, may only have 1 fit player, that being Dion Scott. Fighting hard was Danny Dickfoss. Lawrence, can he kick the first goal? Oh, well done! Strong play by Lawrence. Well, he really never ever looked as though he was going to get his foot to it. He's kicked the first goal of the game and also the first goal of the second half. Stephen Lawrence.
He's just a terribly hard worker in close, is Lawrence, but they haven't had an easy pathway to goal the Lions tonight at any stage. He did kick the first goal of the game for them, but they've really struggled across half forward. They haven't been able to find themselves a clear winner there. And it's only been Danny Dickfoss who's been able to take a couple of marks on a couple of occasions, who's looked at all dangerous up forward for the Lions. It's amazing how much harder some teams work against the wind and how much better they look against the wind than what they do when they actually play with the wind. Also happens in junior football.
5-6, 8-11. There's not a whole lot in this. 23 points. The Lions kicked the last goal before half-time, and they've got the first after half-time. Another one here would really liven it up. Roberts, good mark against the tide a bit there. 33 years of age. He's a very fine footballer who played a fair bit of footy here and in Sydney. Kicks the ball to half forward. Carey at the back. He's had a strange old game tonight, Carey. Back to McKernan, who ran into a bit of form just before half-time. Abraham and Scholl probably mixed each other up there. Scholl running into Abraham. Taken by Brad Scott. No one to kick to. Bangs it up high. Strong mark by Bradshaw in front of Roberts.
With the ball falling short like that against the breeze, you just have to get in front.
Short to Lynch out wide. Lynch down the line to Clark, who was fantastic in the first half. Misread that completely. The ball had a fair bit on it, but he made a mess of it. Capuano tried to short pass to Pike, in trouble. Caught, holding the footy. Had Stevens in short and couldn't get the handball away, and he's hurt himself, Pike. Brett Voss has got it, and he's going to bang it to full forward. Mickey Martin's there, ball at the back, and Lawrence goes for it and kicks that one out of bounds on the full. Pike's in trouble. He's going to come from the ground. So North starting to fall apart here.
Looks to be his knee too, Bruce.
Do you think he had a fair chance of getting rid of the ball when he was caught?
Just watch it again. This is what he grabs hold of the ball. He's tackled, and he just has that knee buckle underneath him.
Do you think he had a fair chance, Tim? That was the question. To get rid of it?
No, look, I mean, look, I think it's one of those 50-50. I don't think he really had enough time, but then I think a lot of the players just don't get enough time to get rid of the ball.
So Pike in a bit of strife. He's going to come from the ground. Archer's out. Allison got a hit in the head. Pickett's going to come on for Pike. And we know the Lions are down to 19 men. This over would be much harder than the one that the North Melbourne and any Melbourne side would be training on at this time of the year. Now, Chris Scott can kick a goal. Pike kicked one from here in the second quarter, but not a good kick.
Gee, their basic skills have let them down all night.
It's their unforced errors, isn't it? We saw that in the second term when they were breaking from half back. They kicked the ball away. The turnovers have really been costly for them tonight, and actually saps your confidence.
No doubt.
As a team.
You can offer all the conditions as an excuse, but when it all boils down, they are professionals, and they're making too many mistakes for the Brisbane Lions, and North Melbourne playing the percentages, and they may have a chance. Watch this kick by McKernan. Now, that is an ordinary kick. He's missed everything, but at least he's forced a boundary throw in. It wasn't on the full. He's disappointed, Corey McKernan, because he was in the open. You can see the breeze in the hair of the players there. It's pretty strong and very difficult to handle.
And that's what it actually is difficult sometimes, even when you are kicking with the wind, to guide the ball correctly down onto your boot, because if you give it a bit of margin for error, the ball can actually be blown off course.
Darryl White into the path of Lappin. Lappin able to deliver with a bit of precision off the left. Voss looking for the hand pass. He affected the tackle that caused Martin Pike to leave the field. Martin with strength, and still Mickey Martin. He wants that footy. Simpson gets it away to Robert Scott. Robert Scott down the line. Scholl will nearly have a shot from here. Outside 50 metres. Craig Scholl has just missed. So scores are behind. 1-1 to Craig Scholl. Scoreline for the Kangaroos, 8-12 to 5-6. They've kicked it behind. Brisbane have kicked a goal. And still no one to kick in. So there's a lack of communication.
It's confusion, isn't it? Obviously, there is a designated kicker. He must have moved up the ground. It was McRae in the first half. In fact, I think he's off the... No, he's down there in the back pocket. Free kick against Roberts on that occasion, just taking Bradshaw out of the marking contest, not going for the ball.
Bit soft, wasn't it, in the finish, but certainly...
Oh, look, I don't think so, Rob. I reckon you got one bloke going for the mark and another bloke just going to try and knock him off out of the contest.
Short kick has been taken here by Boyd. Boyd's kick into the middle of the ground. At the back, that's a throw, isn't it, against Keating? Tristan Lynch to Power. Power very wide, extremely wide, but it's marked by Dick Foss. And Dick Foss can kick it in the direction of Brad Scott. He goes short to Lawrence. Lawrence can go into the pocket. McRae's running in that area. Looks to get past his opponent, who was Pickett. Goes for goal and kicks his second goal in 3 minutes. 3 goals to Stephen Lawrence, and surely, if they're going to be lifted, they've got to be lifted by some inspirational stuff by one of the smallest players on the field.
That was actually clever play, because where he took the kick from, he knew that it was beyond his range against the breeze. He just suckered the man on the mark. He was jumping, ran around, finished beautifully.
Well, they're right back in this, aren't they? Into the breeze, 3 goals to difference. Kicked the last 3 goals in the match, 6-6 to 8-12. Lawrence has got 3 goals. Out of the 6, a surprise packet tonight. Bell kicks the ball forward. Carey on good mark, because he looked to be out of position, and Roberts off the ground, and Harvey on. Carey was almost going to go on to Freeborn in the goal square. This is a terrific mark. High ball. He hasn't had a lot of the footy tonight, Carey. He's had a frustrating night. He hasn't been happy, I think, with the delivery. And I often think when players have huge runs, it's very hard for them to keep it up. Carey's kicked his 3rd goal, so it's a good return. so often we say it with Carey, when they need it most, he delivers, doesn't he? Whether it's a big mark, a big goal, or something or other, he's able to produce. And right at that very moment, North needed a goal.
Well, it suits him so much better when they get the break out of the centre like they did on that occasion, because he is going to find himself on most occasions in a one-on-one duel. Kennedy actually went trying to guard Carey. Carey was going for the ball all the time.
Well, a terrific example there of the key forward, Wayne Carey, keeping his eyes right on the football. A quick kick out of the centre by Anthony Stevens resulted in Carey's third goal. Ashcroft kicks the Lions forward, nearly the mark to Scott. Knocked forward by Keating. Chopped off here by Anthony Stevens, working equally as hard in defence as he does around the middle of the ground and up forward. Just a tremendous worker for North Melbourne, Anthony Stevens, and he kicks wide for a throw-in. So when Brisbane challenged, North Melbourne had the answer through a goal kicked by their captain, Wayne Carey. So they lead 9-12 to 6-6. It's a 4-goal margin. Still Ashcroft trying to clear that area. Stevens, his handball, gathered by Lynch. That's Tristan Lynch. Alistair Lynch, of course, just minding the boundary tonight with Matthew Campbell. It'll be frustrating for Alistair Lynch, I'm sure, having a recurrence of a hamstring injury during the week and not able to take his place in the team. 66 plays, 42. Clark from behind just maybe nudged his opponent out there, and the umpire awards the free kick. Just frustrations there for Matthew Clark at the free kick going back to his immediate opponent in Matthew Capuano between right back pocket and right half back. Gets good distance with the kick. It covers the players in that area. Voss tries to gather, then forced the hand pass clear, but Bell. McKernan a little slow. Grabbed by Lynch from behind, fairly. Now Darryl White out wide to Bamford. Bamford quickly. The kick not all that effective. Drops at the feet of Martin. Didn't he make it his and did it well, and then thumped the torpedo punt kick towards goal. Punched away by Boyd, but only as far as McKernan. McKernan straightens, kicks for goal, and misses to the right. Out of bounds by Corey McKernan earlier in this quarter, and now are behind, so he can't quite find the accuracy he is looking for in this third term. 9-13 plays, 6-6. 13 minutes left in the quarter, and Lappin to kick in for Brisbane.
Short to Boyd at centre half back. Back to Lappin. Now Lappin across the ground. Cheekily gets it to McRae. McRae at half back. Delivers out towards centre wing. Good kick into the breeze. Found Lynch. Some neat play by the Lions. 25 points the margin here. Down the line again. Pickett comes in late, but holding his line there was Keating at centre wing. Keating punches it low to about 60 metres. Lawrence front spot has been lively. Bradshaw's handball good. Taken by Power. Open goal. Running away. Can run it in and kick it. And he's missed unbelievably. Well, he could have actually run all the way.
That's just a lack of confidence and awareness, isn't it? As you caught it, Bruce, he had just nothing but open space in front of him. He just dabbed at that ball, and his reaction tells it all.
And an important kick too. It's 6-7 to 9-13. Brisbane must fancy that they've got a sniff here, but they can't keep missing chances like that. McCartney, good mark.
It certainly was by Jason McCartney, and he kicks towards half forward. White, great recovery by Scholl when the ball hit the ground. Voss in a bit of strife, gets the hand pass to Boyd, in turn to Kennedy. Kennedy wider still. Scott has the football now. He's going to have to hold it up because he's got no one to kick to. Handball to Chris Scott, back to Brad Scott. Squeezed close to the line. May cough it up. Well done by Shannon Grant. Gets back away from McRae and marks safely on his chest. Just his third kick coming up. He's kicked 2 goals and he kicks towards centre half forward. Should be a Brisbane mark, not taken there by Ashcroft. Abraham to Bell. Bell wider still to King. King across the line. That just slewed off the side of his boot. It may be to the advantage of Brisbane here. Gathering the football is Lawrence, giving away a few metres. Back he goes to Lappin. Lappin to assess and then kick towards half forward. But just too easy for McCartney. Really never gave Dick Voss a chance. McCartney taking the mark pretty well unopposed across half back. Kicks the ball back. Well, it takes 2 kicks to get it down there, and then 1 kick by McCartney to put the Lions' defence under pressure once again. Simpson and Scott, not clear by Lappin, gathered by Pickett. pick it across his left shoulder to within 50 metres. Is that a push out? It was, and the umpire saw it. Chris Scott just telling the umpire here that he thought it was all fair and above board. What did you think, Tim?
No, I thought it was definitely a free kick. You just can't get rid of a player in a marking contest like that.
Well, it happened a few seconds earlier than that replay, and it is going the free kick to Chandler. He's certainly within scoring distance with the breeze at his back. He pops it up in the air, and it goes close to the line. At the fall of the ball, Clark. Gee, they're under a bit of pressure. Darryl White, the little kick by Darryl White's out on the full. Misdirected, and it will be a free kick to King. He goes in short and finds Scholl. Scholl again within scoring distance. The player on the mark about 52 metres from goal, but if he pops it out at that right goal post, maybe the breeze can help him kick North Melbourne's 10th goal. He goes in that direction. It comes around a little bit, right in front of goals, knocked over by Matthew Clark for a rush behind to the Kangaroos.
Robbo, just going back to the Luke Power miss at goal, I mean, he was pretty close and it was a bad skill area, but the most important thing, in the forward line, there's a lot of senior players that should have been talking to him. With that loud voice will give him an enormous amount of confidence to take the ball up to the line.
Well, here's a bad turnover. Freeborn goes in and walks it through for a goal. And that's going to hurt because the Lions have done well to get themselves back in with a chance here. But North has been able to respond with the last couple of goals. Carey, mark and kick. Lappin here, got to hit the target. Boyd was stationary, wasn't he? And it took a while to get there, and suddenly he had two players around him, and Freeborn was able to walk in and score. 6-7 to 10-14. $74 to 43. So we're back to a 5-goal game here, with Freeborn scoring.
It's been an interesting battle going on too in the North Melbourne forward line, Bruce. There's been a lot of Lion players throughout the night. They've been dropped back there to play as that spare player across half back in front of Carey. And every time one's dropped back, what Dennis Pagan does is he pushes his forward line up a little bit further and drops another North Melbourne player right off the back on his own. So that Brisbane Lions free player then has to go back and pick up that player.
Capiano tried to take it out of the air, was quickly tackled. Chris Scott off the ground. Anthony Stevens down low, got a little kick, squeeze it out towards the line. Chris Scott after it, has got it, kicks the ball back inside 50. Dick Foss target. Also Dion Scott didn't make a very good attempt. Bamford's kick has missed it to behind. 6-8 to 10-14. So a 5-goal game. Scotty Bamford, who's a couple of poor kicks in the second quarter, were very costly coming out of defence for the Lions.
We shouldn't underestimate how difficult that breeze is. Sorry, down to...
Yeah, sorry, Tim, but just at North Melbourne, although 5 goals up, Mark Roberts has come off with a bad knee as well, so their options are very limited. They've now got 4 injured players on the bench.
Well, a big punch back there by Darryl White, and not quite to the advantage of Marcus Ashcroft. And the players in that area able to lock it up. The umpire will bounce. 30 points the difference. 5 goals in favour of the Kangaroos. They came up here expecting a battle. So to be 5 goals in front, admittedly, the Lions have last use of the breeze. 5 goals is not a lot. But down go North Melbourne. Harvey, the hand pass. In trouble there was Grant. Now Abraham to help out. Abraham to slip the tackle. The little kick, not bad. Kennedy, Scholl for North Melbourne. In trouble Harvey, caught by Power. Kicked away by Champion. They've got a chance here, the Brisbane Lions. They've got 3-1. It's gathered here by Scott. That's Brad Scott. Gets the hand pass to Lappin. Lappin goes in the direction of Dick Foss. Knocked away there by Blakey. So Blakey manning up in the third quarter on Daddy Dick Foss. Obviously Dennis Pagan having a bit of regard there for Dick Foss and his influence in the first half. Clark gets it down, but really to the advantage of North Melbourne. Stevens receiving from Simpson. His kick across the half-forward line. Carey to run onto it. Watch him break the tackle. He did in the finish. It wasn't bad by Boyd. Strong man, Carey. Look at the left foot kick. It's a beauty. Puts it on the chest of Shannon Grant. And Richard Champion just minding the mark ever so diligently and forcing Shannon Grant to go back and kick over the man on the mark. What about the powerhouse play here of Carey?
He just made it look so easy, didn't he? Just fended off the tackle, gave himself a little bit of time and space to work out where he wanted to pinpoint the kick, and then Grant just running into the space.
4 kicks for 3 goals. Would be percentage play, to say the least. Shannon Grant coming up for just that situation. He kicks and misses.
Just watching Winston Abraham before, Robbo, every time he grabs hold of the ball, he does try and do something with it. Sometimes, as a player, you've just got to be able to say to yourself, you assess all the options, you've just got to say to yourself, okay, sometimes I've just got to kick for distance.
Freeborn, so he took a mark a moment ago from a short kick in from Lappin and Gold, and now he's got it from McRae, and he's going to unload and pop it right up to the goal square. Carey outnumbered, had a fair bit of it, and Kennedy belts it over the line. It's an interesting observation, so I think at times you've got to just play the percentages.
Absolutely. He's not prepared to play the percentages because he wants to do something with the ball every time, and that's an admirable quality to have, but sometimes you've just got to kick for distance.
Wide of the back, judged it well. It was a good kick by Champion for distance, and White took the mark. Quickly off to Ashcroft. Ashcroft over to Dion Scott. Dion Scott inboard to Brad Boyd. Boyd away, kicks the ball towards about the 30-metre mark. Bradshaw outnumbered. Chance for Bamford. Walks in and kicks a goal. Keeps them in the match. Still a fair way down, but every goal here will be priceless for Brisbane going into 3/4 time. They're not out of this completely at 7-8 to 10-16.
Well, on that occasion, Pickett just missing the ball in the air, which meant that there was 2 North Melbourne players at the contest, just the 1 Brisbane line, and then they had the players at ground level. Bamford on that occasion, and just the finish they needed.
Well, Scotty Bamford's 20th AFL goal from 43 matches, but more importantly, it's the Lions' 7th to bring them back to within 26 points of the Kangaroos. Roberts not able to break away, kick forward by Power, and a marking contest, the ball bouncing a little awkwardly. Pickett well tackled there by Leppich. Bamford gets the hand pass away. Boyd, still a struggle, but Stevens, no struggle for Anthony Stevens. Gathered that ball and kicked it forward. And at centre-half forward, it's gathered there by Voss. A wide hand pass for Darryl White. Good kick by Darryl White. Running in support was Brad Scott. Can he move it on quickly? Oh, terrible kick by Brad Scott. Well marked by Power. Getting it back is Chris Scott. Chris Scott towards the half-forward area. Gathered there by Robert Scott. Dropped by Bell. Little hack out of there to Blakey. Blakey quickly onto his right foot. Kicks towards half-forward. They've got the numbers here now. Gathered by Tristan Lynch, away to Kennedy. Kennedy a high ball to within 50 metres, just outside that area. Big punch by Mickey Martin, wasn't it? Gathered by Darryl White. Little kick by that player is effective and finds Leppich. He's about 85, maybe 90 metres from goal. So still maybe 3 kicks. Indecision all over the face of Justin Leppich. He kicks high into the pocket. Oh, he got rid of his opponent, Lawrence, who was David King, but it's knocked over for a throw-in by the North Melbourne defender. You can see it's only about 30 metres around from the Brisbane goal. Leppich going long, and Lawrence not able to take the mark. The throw-in that pocket. Knocked to the front of the pack. Gathered by Lappin. Kicks it to the danger zone. In goes Leppich to provide the contest. Simpson tackled. Martin dispossessed. Chance here for Lynch. Missed the kick altogether. In goes Pickett. Was that nearly a throw? McRae snapshot. Dropped by Power. Gee, the footy's hot. McRae snapshot. It's a great snapshot. It's a goal to Brisbane. Well, it was tiring work for everybody, I'm sure. But Brisbane have kicked their 8th goal, and it is just 20 points the difference with 5 minutes left in the 3rd term.
It wasn't pretty stuff, was it? But it was absorbing the way they continued to get there to the next fall of the ball there. Power almost took a mark there, just worked it across to McRae. It was a snapshot, kicking almost blind, but they're just keeping themselves in this game, the Lions.
Lions definitely in at 8-8 to 10-16. We know that both teams are down almost to 18 fit men on the boundary line. McKernan went early. Scott, gee, next goal's pretty important here. Went to Chris Scott to Ashcroft. Ashcroft to centre half forward, and good mark coming across on the side by Simpson. A bit of a slack handball, but he got it to King in the end, and Pickett provided a bit of a shepherd, and King then delivers with a floating kick to centre half forward. Dion Scott, Carey, Kennedy belts it away as he's done most of the night. Boyd running it towards the line and forced out of play. So North being challenged here, 56 to 76. They're in control, but they're not home. That was Simpson coming across from the side. It was a good mark. Boundary throw in about 50 metres from North's goal. Harvey gets it and kicks towards full forward. Bouncing ball and through for a behind. North 10-17. The Lions are 8-8. So into the breeze. It hasn't been hard to score goals. Brisbane have kicked 7 of their 8 goals into the breeze. Admittedly, they've had 2 goes to 1. But North have kicked 5 of their 10 into the breeze. So I've had 12 of the 18 goals kicked to the right of screen so far tonight.
Harvey, who's kicked 25 goals for the year, has kicked 2 behind so far in this match. And North would be looking for players like Brent Harvey to maybe snap a goal or 2 in the remaining quarter and a bit of this match. Certainly as they're being challenged right now. McRae confronted by Abraham and Pickett. A boundary throw in results.
Abraham's another robber. He's kicked 35 goals, but he's kicked goals in 16 of the matches going in and hasn't been able to get one tonight.
So the Crummers, important maybe in the remaining minutes of this game for the Kangaroos. Dion Scott doing the ruck work. The ball spills to Simpson. He's not able to do much with it. Harvey kicks it forward once again. And is that a mark? No, not held in the finish there by Carey. A little frustrated because he probably felt as though he had his hands on it, but not able to grab it and hang on to it. 8-8 to 10-18. 22 points as a margin in favour of North Melbourne. Champion goes straight down the ground, looking for a big mark. He nearly got it too through Brad Scott. Kicked out of there by Ashcroft. Contest provided there. Now it's Stevens. Back, no, not for Roberts. He said, I'll do it myself. And then kicks it to within 25 metres. Punched away by the Brisbane defence. Taken to the ground strongly. Was one of the Scott boys, I think, in underneath there. Might be Brad Scott. And the umpire will bounce right in front of the North Melbourne goal. He's a tough nut like his brother there. Well, it was Chris, actually, that was underneath all that. They're both tough boys, Brad and Chris Scott. And they're trying very hard to rescue a victory out of something here for Brisbane. Equally as desperate, North Melbourne. Chandler's kick across the face of goal. Gathered here by Bell. Kicked by McKernan. High kick into the pocket. Knocked away in the finish there by Boyd for a boundary throw-in. Only 15 metres around from the North Melbourne goal with 3 minutes left in the quarter.
Not much space in that North Melbourne forward line. There's 30 players inside their 50.
Clark on the bench there for the moment. Had a terrific start to this match. Champion missed it. Carey at the back. McRae was slung as he kicks the ball outside 50. Stevens keeps it in, and good smother there by Power and a boundary throw-in. He's missed a couple of chances, young Power, but he's done all right.
A tough job too.
That's the sort of stuff you can build on, though, isn't it?
That's right. That does. It gives you confidence. It gives your teammates confidence. He's actually running with Anthony Stevens, so that's going to be a lesson in itself.
White, little kick away, doesn't go far. Harvey hacks it off the ground. Scholes got it. Back turn was good. Didn't use Roberts. Found some space cleverly. Pops it up to full forward. Shannon Grant there, and he's got it. Good play, Scholes. He really found... He had orientation, didn't he? Found some space, and then in typical North Melbourne style, banged it forward, using the breeze a bit. And Grant's mark too was very clever. He missed a goal, Tim, from just the other side. Probably about the same distance out. This is going to suit him a little better with the breeze right behind him. And North need this. They're not over the line by any stretch of the imagination. It's been a bit of a lazy performance by them tonight, hasn't it? Not a whole lot of energy in their team at the moment. Remembering they've travelled a bit lately as Grant goes for goal, and he's missed again. So his accuracy going into this match would have been pretty interesting. Kicked 32-7 going into the match, and he's missed 2 that you'd reckon would be pretty easy.
Just watch that mark again. He is a master at actually getting himself into the right position in those marking contests. That's clever play. He played on the windward side on that occasion. He knew that the ball was going to travel.
Well, not burying them by any stretch. 10-19 to 8-8.
Yes, 23 points the margin. close to three-quarter time. McRae, well, would he be happy to just waste seconds, do you think, at this latter stage of the third quarter?
I would think so. They're in no hurry.
High kick, lands close to half-back. Gathered here
Well,
by
are they
Voss.
close enough to win? That's the question. I mean, are they close
No
enough
doubt.
to win?
4 goals is not much in today's footy.
It's not much, but I just think that North Melbourne still have so much in reserve. We haven't seen them really put their foot to the accelerator yet.
Well, the boundary throw-in is probably a kick and a half from North Melbourne's goal. Mark Roberts may make it 1 kick. His kick's a good one. Lands at full forward, touched as it went through. And another behind. Added to North Melbourne's score.
Robbo,
That's their 20th.
Just on the situation at the moment with a couple of minutes to go in the quarter, I mean, the Lions have battle-weighed very well. I mean, there's been a lot of ball in the North Melbourne forward line. If we can just hold out for another minute and a half, I think we can go into three-quarter time very confident we can come over the top of them.
Alistair Lynch, co-captain. There's Roger Merritt and Scott Clayton. Roger.
Rod O'Reilly is the person on the other side of Roger Merritt. He's on the coaching staff here too in Brisbane.
Grant held up. Clark over the top of it. And it's going to be a bounce about 70 metres out. So about a minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. A goal either way makes a big difference here. 24-point margin, 8-8 to 10-20. North's had a lot of rush behinds late in this quarter. McKernan belts it out into the path of Simpson on his wrong side. Right foot, North outnumbered. Oh, good effort by Freeborn. Has it been paid? Gee, Brisbane are going to be disappointed here. They had man in front, man behind, both taller than Freeborn, and Freeborn able to judge it and take the mark. Unbelievable when you look at that. I guess Darryl White just had to go belt, didn't he, from the back with his leap. And Freeborn, who's kicked a goal in this term, would give North a really handy break now. Goals have been difficult to get all night, and he has slotted it through. So his performance has been pretty good. Keep thinking about him in that grand final, Tim, when he had that huge second quarter. They haven't got much out of him since then. He's only played 2 games prior to this year. He'd be a bonus if they can get him up coming into the finals.
I think he's been a reasonable play. That was a good knock on Corey McKernan's behalf on that occasion. Obviously, one of the plays that they work on during the week, North Melbourne, that should have been a punch from behind there by White. But the Lions have been pretty good the way they've clogged up the North Melbourne forward line in this third term.
It's going to sting a bit, isn't it, Robbo?
Yeah, deep in the third term when they were holding on grimly. That goal by Glenn Freeborn makes the margin exactly 5 goals in favour of the Kangaroos. Dennis Pagan preparing for his three-quarter time address with his coaching assistants. Just Darryl White may have thought that Brad Boyd in front was in a good position to mark the ball. That's the only explanation for it. Clark, Anthony Stevens to Roberts to try and back out of trouble, but Peter Bell gathers, kicks over his left shoulder. It's marked by McKernan. Now, he'd nearly kicked this. If he could get onto the big torp, there's only seconds left. He's going to go for the big bomb, and he'll get it to within about 15 metres. The captain's got it. What a good mark that was. A strong effort to get past the Brisbane Lions player and get to the front, and then mark right on siren time. He's kicked 3. And I watched his last goal. He doesn't mess around. He must, obviously, the technique, look at something behind the goals and kick it with some sort of emphasis. The other boys may be trying to steer it through. Watch this with a bit of interest as he goes for his 4th goal. It is three-quarter time. And he kicks and misses. Well, you wouldn't believe it, would you? 3 goals, 3 against Wayne Carey's name. But a very handy lead for North Melbourne at three-quarter time. They've kicked 11-21, 32 scoring shots to 16, and they lead this match by 31 points with a quarter to go.
Needing an early goal or 2. Remember in the second quarter when they were well placed and North took the initiative. There's White and Martin, so it's certainly a one-on-one. There's nobody within 50 metres of them at the moment. And North seemingly in control, but there'd be a few nervous people just hoping they can get the 4 points and maintain their position in the top 2. Bamford, handball, not finding a target. Stevens has had an excellent second and third quarters, and he's tackled. and it's going to be a bounce. Midfield struggled, didn't they, in the first term for North? They've really lifted.
They're tough, those Scott twins, aren't they? Brad and Chris. Chris has been a wonderful player again tonight. And just talking to some of the Brisbane Lions people prior to the game, they said that he has just been a revelation for them this season.
It's been frustrated, hasn't he, in the last couple of seasons with injury, so it's good to see him have a full season. And a boundary throw in.
A future leader of the club too, I would think, Bruce.
56 to 87. Certainly knows how to get it. Just wish every now and then he'd do a little bit more with it when in possession. Capuano, Voss, Lynch. Here's Chris Scott trying to burst his way through. McKernan lost it. Robert Scott almost got it off Champion. Then Bamford had it smothered. McRae's been very good to Lappin, who probably should have gone all the way himself. Gave it to Dick Foss. White and Martin and Mickey's won it too easily. Lappin really could have straightened in. He was free, and sure, if he had the North Melbourne Guernsey on and had the Dennis Pagan philosophy, he would have run 5 metres and kicked it as far as he possibly could. Went to Dick Foss on Dick Foss's wrong side, and the kick was marked by Martin. So Martin between half-back and the back pocket. See the breeze, how strong it is. Doesn't get it much past 50. Bell getting onto it now. Hasn't quite got it. Gets it back cleverly to Stevens. Stevens belts it down the line. Scholl, well done, Scholl, because he knew he'd made a mistake when he didn't take the mark because he was going to go to ground, but he was good enough to put a tackle on Bradshaw basically as he was falling and hold the footy up.
Yes, and the tackle deemed as all fair and above board, and the boundary umpire to throw it in. 87 plays 56. Very important that Brisbane get a quick goal if they're to challenge the Kangaroos. McRae kicks it long to a vacant left forward pocket, half forward area. Gathered here by Lawrence as he kept the ball in. According to the boundary umpire, yes. Dick Foss to knock it in front of himself. Blakey to apply the pressure. Lawrence has a chance again here. He's kicked 3. Stephen Lawrence straightens up, kicks a banana and just misses. By gee, that would have set the crowd alight. And the commentary box. 3 goals, 1 to Stephen Lawrence. North Melbourne lead by 30 points, and I'm sure Brisbane fans appreciate the efforts there of Stephen Lawrence.
Right out the ball then.
Right out.
Right out. Way over the line.
It might have been a bit of good luck that they desperately need early in the last quarter of this match. Shannon Grant to kick in. Gathered here by Scott. Gives away a bit of ground back to Dick Foss. And that was Chris Scott again getting the football. Tristan Lynch across the half-forward line. They need a mark, but it's North Melbourne's McCartney who takes his 5th mark. He's played a steady game across the half-back line for the Kangaroos. Martin with the football in the left-back pocket area. He kicks it out close to the wing. Top effort by Carey. Couldn't take the mark. Power. Still a struggle. Kennedy for the Lions. Now Stevens for North Melbourne. Anthony Stevens, his kick is well marked by Simpson, close to the boundary line. Must have just been inside the playing arena.
Simpson high ball to about 50. Capuano front spot. Clark at the back, belts away. Taken by Bell, roving well, pushes the ball to the pocket and bouncing, still bouncing, and actually makes it through for a behind in the end. So the margin out to 31. Dion Scott in the centre there. One of the Gowers injured, as we know. Sean Hart's done a hamstring, so his season might be close to over. He's so fit and professional, though. He'll make a big effort to get back. Champion's kick not all that good. Voss was difficult for him. Stevens kicks back in the Scholl direction, has a big running leap, can't take it. Back turn by Abraham, couldn't get clear. Brisbane get it to McRae, who's had so much of the footy. Out to Voss. Voss to Lappin. Lappin at half-back. Comes away. Left foot to space. Interesting here. Brisbane might have numbers. Lawrence running hard. Chandler. Well done, Lawrence. Back to Chris Scott. Chris Scott 50 metres out. Goes short to White. White, well done by Martin. Probably wasn't the right option. Simpson to Scott. Scott belts the ball out wide to Roberts. Roberts in short. North everywhere. Harvey's got it. Wants to play on in a hurry. Decides not to. He's got a man out wide and he's going to kick it to Freeborn. Freeborn 60 metres from goal. Where's Carey? He goes short to Carey now. Pops it up. Carey front spot. Can't take the mark. Kennedy did a good job to wrest it off him. Boot the ball back to the open spaces. Carey reckons he marked it. Crowd loved that. And now Roberts back with the bounce and straightening the body and goes back to the pocket. Carey again getting involved. Front spot, can't mark it. It's been one of those nights for the King, and they're all over it, and it's going to be a bounce.
Well, some frenetic football. We see Allison and Archer still warming the bench, both injured. And we'll have another look here. Chris Scott, I thought, could have nearly gone for goal. These boys leading up, Martin was very good in his defensive work, but those players leading up left the goal face.
Mickey Martin's very good at covering a man, though, in a situation like that too. He's deceptively quick, and he really didn't need to pinpoint the kick. Chris Scott, he probably should have done the percentage thing, and on that occasion it would have been to have a shot at goal. They need to score. They're doing well in general play, the Lions. They're just not putting the finishing touches to their work, although it is difficult with this wind.
Gee, that was well done by Clark to get it to Bradshaw. Bradshaw's kick goes long. Lepic out of the mid-air situation. Just hacked it over the line. So he started promisingly, Justin Lepic. Went off the ground with what looked as though may have been an injury. But he's been back on the ground now for perhaps the entire second half. And he'd be disappointed with that result. 8 kicks and 4 hand passes to Justin Lepic. Anthony Stevens for North Melbourne coming up for his 20th possession. Just a real workhorse, Anthony Stevens. Kicks into the man on the mark. Give him a rap and see what happens. He kicks with the right. Kicked away there by McRae from Bamford. Over for another boundary throw in. Right on the players' interchange area, where both benches are situated in front of the Brisbane Lions Social Club. That's Pickett just being attended to on the boundary line. He may be called upon. Chris Scott, hand pass, look for Ashcroft, but well done by Simpson. Dispossesses, then the kick lands close to half forward. Good mark taken down there. If it wasn't a mark, it certainly was a free kick to Bradshaw.
Bradshaw between centre wing and half-back. Just been told that the Sydney-North Melbourne reserves match has been switched from the Sydney Cricket Ground because of the weather and the state of the ground to Arden Street. We played at Arden Street tomorrow. It's just been bucketing down in Sydney all week. Races were called off at 2 p.m. that match tomorrow for the reserves. Races were called off very early on, both Saturday and Sunday. Coffs Harbour was called off. Johnny Tapp's last call didn't happen on Thursday. And you can imagine it's going to be a bog for the West Coast Eagles and the Swans on Sunday afternoon. So the reserves going to Arden Street at 2 p.m. tomorrow as Capuano's got the mark between half-back and centre wing. 8-9 to 11-22, so nothing happening on the scoreboard here. That'll suit North Melbourne. Good mark by Bradshaw over the top. He's got to belt the ball down and they've got to try and get a goal in a hurry. North in second position on percentage over St Kilda at the moment, so every point will be vital in this last quarter. Capuano against the flow, couldn't quite. McCartney's handball okay to Stevens, put him under pressure there, McCartney. No, they might get something out of this. Bamford's handball missed the target. Keating had to really hit him. Robert Scott playing the percentages, goes the line. Chris Scott's got it, it's still in play. Chris Scott goes to centre half forward. Lawrence, good mark. It's been good, Lawrence. He's played very well. He's improvised, hasn't he, up forward? He's played in close quarters really cleverly tonight. He is a tiger, there's no doubt about that. He's got a lot of guts and determination.
He's one of those forwards too that really works hard to lock the ball in. Doesn't let an easy ball out of the forward line, and they're the types of forwards you need at ground level. There's an awful lot to like about this young player.
It's kick 3, and he's got a chance to keep this game alive in terms of a Brisbane win. They need it desperately, and he's missed. It's going to be hard now. 3-2 for Lawrence, so he's missed his last couple. He hit the post after a good attempt. He just missed with a banana kick, didn't he, in the third quarter. 8-10 to 11-22. So it's 5 goals exactly. 3-12 the difference. Temperature's getting down to 8 degrees here. Pretty good crowd, really. I know 18,000, I think, is the capacity now, and to be within a couple of thousand of that. So the team mightn't be winning too much, but the fans are keeping their interest up. McCartney goes off the ground and out of play. Dennis Pagan is very good with players that have been discarded from other clubs, and McCartney's a good example, isn't he? I mean, couldn't make it when Blighty took the Crows top, and he's been terrific for Dennis and his team.
Well, he's had 13 possessions and taken 5 marks. Simpson tried to get the ball clear, but Brad Scott kicks it back close to centre half forward. Nearly gathered there by Bamford, dispossessed by Robert Scott. Lappin to swoop on it, and then give the hand pass in the direction of one of the Scott boys, Bell, to kick it back out towards the wing. And fortunately for North Melbourne, Simpson is on the end of the kick. Simpson's kick has been smothered off the boot. Well gathered by Voss, very well gathered. Was it out of bounds? No, it's a free kick for what? Maybe throwing the ball. Or it was away from.
It was the Shepherd.
Illegal
Robbo.
Shepherd, was it?
Yeah.
I think it was over the shoulder here. Yeah, just over the shoulder.
Yes, a rather indiscriminate attempt there on a Shepherd by Richard Champion, penalised. So Simpson to kick the ball to within scoring distance for North Melbourne. Freeborn, hand pass back. Harvey's kick, well gathered by Kennedy. Streamed down the ground and put the North Melbourne defence under pressure. He kicks it into the middle. The punch goes to the back of the pack. Blakey, well done by Dick Voss. Very well done. Straighten up. Handball into the front of the goals. Kick a goal, Tristan Lynch over the top. Darryl White. Well done, the Brisbane Lions. They have now got their 9th goal. Darryl White kicks his first. And Brisbane, with 11.5 minutes left, have kicked their 9th to bring the margin back to 4 goals.
And it started deep in defence, didn't it, when Kennedy grabbed hold of the ball and just kicked to the contest. And then they had numbers at the full of ball. Then Dick Voss did remarkably well there to get the ball away into the clear away from Blakey. And then the whole ground just opened up for them. And White on the end.
Well, we still might get a grandstand finish. There's plenty of time. 9-10 to 11-22. 2-12. 4 kicks the difference. Certainly the crowd are involved. They think that their team may be able to pull off a miracle here. They've trailed all night. They kicked the first goal of the night with Lawrence, and from that point on, North has really made the running. Bells, high ball to centre half forward or Carey, big mark. He's done it a few times tonight when required. Pushes wide to Scholl, and that's a clever mark too by Scholl. Difficult pocket to score a goal from here. Carey outside 50, and Scholl's got the mark. Mentioned earlier, Tim, a lot of travelling for North Melbourne. They went to Subiaco to play West Coast. They decided by their own means to go to Manuka. They're playing here tonight. In a fortnight they go to Adelaide to play at Footy Park. They would have played 4 matches outside of Melbourne in the space of 6 weeks going in towards the finals.
I don't think travelling holds the same fear for clubs as it once did, though.
As Scholl lines up, and if he's kicked that, that's a fantastic goal. It is an outstanding kick. Scholl gets his second. Both goals to that end of the ground. And it's been the pattern for the whole night, hasn't it? Every time that Brisbane has got within striking distance, often it's been Carey that's done something, and North Melbourne generically, they've been able to do something and really snuff it out. And now it's going to be almost an impossibility for Brisbane to get back in to win this match.
Well, Carey has kicked 3 and Scholl has kicked 2. Second goal to Craig Scholl, and that little girl has gone to 9 eyes pretty early. 12-22 to 9-10. I guess that she may have been a Brisbane fan, because they weren't all that exciting early in the game. They've had 2 or 3 rushes at North Melbourne, but as Bruce has mentioned, it's been snuffed out fairly straightforwardly on a couple of occasions. Carey and Craig Scholl on that occasion getting goals to just make it extremely difficult for Brisbane. Kicked across the line there by, might have been Harvey, Stevens, Anthony Stevens.
His work rate is just phenomenal, isn't it? He only had 2 possessions in the first quarter. He was an extremely quiet player. He's now up to 24, and he'll end up with his average, which is, well, he's well over his average now. That is 23 kicks, so and he works in close. I
don't think the state selectors hesitate too much when his name's penciled in to represent Victoria in State of Origin. Jason McCartney taking his 7th mark, his 6th mark rather. Abraham with the football, he's at half-back, and then straightens and kicks with his right. I'd like to see that. If you've got the chance, kick with your natural kicking foot. Blakey with the left foot kicks close to the line in front of Lepic, and it's over for a throw-in. 12-22, so 34 scoring shots to 19. The Brisbane side 9-10. Margin is 5 goals. So to kick 5 goals and level up would be a big ask for Brisbane in the remaining 10 minutes.
Into attack Brisbane, missed by Lawrence. King back to Pickett, taking his time and then kicking it as far as he can down to centre wing. McKernan, big fly. That would have given him a bit of confidence. He just needs something to take into the next match. Lepic got it back. Lappin dashes forward and then caresses the ball to half forward. Bad kick. Terrible kick to Scott. Robert Scott, that is. And the ball out wide. Bell's got hold of it. Back inboard to Freeborn. Freeborn delivers to centre half forward. Scholes there. Carey will fly from the back and take a big one at centre half forward. Now kick it on quickly. He's got Roberts and Scholes. Roberts might go on here. Takes the mark, falling, and probably a good effort there at the back by Lepage, because Roberts, had he been able to hold his feet, would have either walked in and taken the goal himself or handballed onto Scholes. Carey, it's been a little cameo performance, hasn't it? He really hasn't got completely involved, but what he's done has been decisive.
And if you're wondering why North Melbourne has all that space in their forward line, it's because they really do play their forwards across centre half forward. Once they take that grab there, then they just kick the ball back over their head to space.
Roberts kicks his second, and North safely home now. So Scholes and Roberts getting last quarter goals. Two of the heroes of their premiership year in 1996. And it's going to be with that base again that they're going to challenge this year. So that really the core from 96, what they're going to take in. And I think the biggest thing to come out of tonight is whether Glenn Archer can play for the rest of the season. That is going to be the biggest question mark from tonight's game. There is no question about that. 9-10 to 13-22.
So with 9 minutes left in the game, the Roos 13-22 lead the Lions 9-10. Margin now out to 36 points. It was just 4 goals not that long ago, but 2 quick goals to Craig Scholes and Mark Roberts. Now Simpson kicks it forward in the area of McKernan, but it's gathered by Kennedy. Kennedy's long kick. They got a goal out of a kick like this from Matthew Kennedy not that long ago. Lawrence, little hand pass. Tristan Lynch, well tackled by Pickett. Did he hang on too long? That may have been the way the umpire saw that, because the ball is going back to Tristan Lynch. And what was that for? He goes and then dragged to the ground when he didn't have the football. So Lynch from 50 metres doesn't quite get onto it. He'll land the ball close to the goal line and rushed over for a behind to Brisbane. So they're now 9-11, 65, trailing North Melbourne 13-22, 100. 3 goals to Stephen Lawrence and 3 goals to Wayne Carey, the leading goal kickers for either side. David King to kick it back for the Kangaroos. Goes very wide. Champion not able to mark. Anthony Stevens, another little quick kick. Brad Scott to Power. Power with the left foot. Delivers towards full forward. No mark taken at the front of the pack. And Lawrence working to try and dispossess Robert Scott. Unsuccessful. Umpire will bounce.
So about 8 minutes remaining. 35 points the margin here. Peter Bell. It's been pretty good too tonight. He's had 22 possessions. Worked really hard. Well done there by Ashcroft. Ashcroft's little kick marked by King didn't go far enough. Pickett runs it over. They've got a bit up their sleeve, North, and prepared to do it at this stage. 9-12 to 13-22. But the injury list, the key here for both teams, but particularly North Melbourne with Archer going into towards September. Good kick, that one by King to Blakey. Blakey must be one of the most disciplined footballers going around. He plays within the constraints, doesn't he, all the time. Scholes cleverly, actually, just giving it up to Stevens. Stevens across the face, wanting McKernan to take a big, strong mark. He does, and then charges on and kicks to fall forward in Roberts and Carey's direction. Brisbane get numbers back. Kennedy did a fair job. Out to Lappin, who's sweeping in the last quarter, and out to Tristan Lynch. Can he go on here? He turns a couple of blokes now and then goes to centre half forward to Lawrence. Better build up. Lawrence may be able to go almost all the way here with the breeze behind him. Decides to go to the pocket and finds Dion Scott. Good build up all the way from full back to full forward. It was really clean.
That was perhaps their best passage of play tonight. The Lions, the way they moved that ball forward. I've been most impressed with this bloke again tonight. He just keeps presenting himself. He works hard.
He's had his first big season of footy, hasn't he, Lawrence? He's really established himself in the team. Dion Scott has been on the interchange for most of the night, likes it. He reckons it's a goal, and so does the umpire. So Dion Scott gets his first. Scoreboard remains respectable, but it's not threatening for North Melbourne at this stage. 10-12 to 13-22. And really, it's been a 4 to 6, or probably a 3 to 6 goal game just about all night, hasn't it?
And And I guess really the difference is that Wayne Carey has been able to take those marks across half forward and present himself, whereas up the other end of the ground, the Lions have really struggled to find somebody who's been consistent in that area.
Well, North led by 8 points at quarter time. Brisbane kicking 3-1 into the breeze. Didn't capitalise, only kicked 1-5 in the second term. And the Kangaroos kicking 4 goals, 8 in the second quarter. Just created the gap that maybe Brisbane have found extremely difficult to bridge. The kick by Abraham, not marked by McKernan, gathered by Scholl. Terrific hand pass. Carey will get his 4th now, won't he? Surely.
He's missed it.
He's missed. Dear me, 3 goals, 4 to Carey.
Kicked poorly at Monica, Robbo, last week, where he missed a few easy ones. He's
having a bit of a chuckle too, the boys there, Matthew Kennedy and Wayne Carey.
He was just a bit casual about that one. He had plenty of time to turn his shoulder in.
Kick in is marked by Chris Scott. 6 minutes left. Chris Scott out wide to the wing to his brother Brad. Gives away a lot of meterage back to Lepic. Lepic's kick to half forward. The crumbs to be gathered by Dick Foss, not able to control the football, and then in underneath the umpire has no option really and will bounce between wing and right half forward, favouring Brisbane.
Dick Foss has been a good contributor up forward. Has worked hard. He's made the contests and he's made the collisions, which has meant then that there's been a ball falling free in the forward line, but they just haven't had the players really who've been able to pounce on those balls. The line.
Umpire's found a free kick. It's going to McKernan. McKernan quickly to half forward. Good mark taken back there by Bradshaw.
cross half back and pushes wide. Wants Voss. Stevens able to get back, and so often tonight
free kick
is to Voss against Stevens. So often tonight, though, I was going to say that Bradshaw kick is typical. They kick to a player who's stationary, and North has been able to get back and affect the spoil. Brett Voss has kicked down the line. Lawrence and Pickett, interesting little duel late in this match, boundary throwing. What about McKernan, Tim, because he's a real key, isn't he?
He still looks out of sorts, doesn't he? He's not confident when he goes for the marks. He's really struggled to take the ball in his hand. And he's also, his timing is still out. When he's jumping for the ball, he just appears to be getting underneath the ball.
Ashcroft had it cut off. Bell, another possession. Oh, clever Mark Chandler. And quickly on to Harvey. Good footy. Wants to stretch his man. Does. Runs hard. Kicks badly to the pocket. But does get the ball to fall forward in a hurry. And it's a boundary throw-in. Harvey, been good. Remember that game in Adelaide early against Port Adelaide when he had all those first quarter goals? Twice this year he's kicked 5 goals in a match. Got 5 on a Friday night against the Bombers at the start of this big run that North has had late in the season. Carey trying to take it out of the air. Comes down to Capuano. Can't get a kick to it. Shannon Grant's in there also lapping. And again, it's going to be a bounce. So 101-72. North is going to equal West Coast as the best winning sequence for the year. This will be their 6th consecutive win. And that's a mighty fine effort.
Hurt himself then too, Capuano.
I think it's Scott going off for the blood rule.
Scott's going off the blood rule, but Capuano actually tried to kick the ball off the ground. Just watch this again. And his knee was crunched back. And I think it's a knee that he actually is wearing a bit of tape around as well.
So Capuano's had a series of knee problems, and there you can see it's the left one. It's the whole of one season.
He really hasn't got the best gait in the world, even when he's as fit as he can be.
Gee,
Matthew.
Slow-mo really showing it up there, isn't it? The impact. So North are going to have some anxious moments. He's so important, Capuano, if he's fit, because it releases McKernan, which also frees up Carey. It just gives that extra dimension when you can sit 4 on the interchange, to have him with his height and a pretty useful ruckman. Comes down to Shannon Grant, squeezes a goal from nowhere. That's his 3rd. So Grant, who missed a couple of pretty easy ones really in the 3rd quarter, goals that at the time would have really propelled North away from Brisbane, has finished with a goal here, a Steve Lawrence type goal tonight, getting that one, and that's his 3rd. So 35 goals out of Shannon Grant. In fact, they've got 70 goals out of Shannon Grant and Winston Abraham between them. 2 recruits that have come to the club this year.
And that's what they would have been looking for from them when they actually recruited him, because that was one of their weaknesses.
So back in the centre, 35 points the margin. So every time the Brisbane side seem to get some sort of respectability there, North Melbourne are able to kick that, what looks to be a simple goal. There's a free kick given away, a little too fierce in the attack on the ball, and North Melbourne will come clear from half back through David King. His kick just a little ill-directed, and Champion is marked at centre half back. He goes across the line and he'll find Power. Power is at half back. Looks to give the hand pass away. Darryl White in a bit of strife. His hand pass is not bad. Lappin just looks as though he's playing with not the confidence that he was a couple of years ago. Strong play by Brad Scott. Creates an opportunity here for Bamford. Hand pass to Dion Scott. In turn goes back here to Luke Power. He's dragged down a little too high, and the umpire decides it is a free kick to the Brisbane player. David King not all that happy with that decision, but the free kick is with Luke Power.
And once again, not a lot of system in the way they're playing the Brisbane Lions when they go forward.
Just a little undecided. He now goes in towards half forward. That's a free kick. Push in the back against Lawrence. So Lawrence, the chance to kick his 4th goal, and from not a lot of opportunities, 12 possessions so far, his 13th possession, maybe his 4th goal, would be a creditable performance by Stephen Lawrence.
Robbo, just a small thing on Stevie Lawrence. He's certainly been one of our best players this year, and certainly in this game. He's had 2 total knee reconstructions, bounced back to be one of our just top real goers around the club. So congratulations to him, and good to see him cap it off with another goal.
Well, he has done just that, Alistair. Kicked his 4th goal, and 4 out of 11 is pretty good.
Yes, he's proved to be the most productive forward for the Lions tonight, just presenting himself once again. There was a bit of a hole there, and King just getting into the back. In fact, it was Simpson just getting into the back of him on that occasion. And Byron Pickett now there on Lawrence.
So 4 goals to Stephen Lawrence. I don't reckon he would have done that before in a match. 11-12 to 14-23. McKernan and Clark. McKernan wins it, stretches over the top. Chandler couldn't get the handball away. Clark pushes back in the direction of Ashcroft, squeezes a little kick out, doesn't go far. Stevens has been outstanding. Scholl probably gives away a free kick. Bradshaw's got the mark.
I reckon this fella has the potential to make a very good centre half back, Bradshaw.
Still a teenager, so there's a lot of potential. Full stop there, isn't there? Chris Scott back to Lappin. Lappin, who's had a lot of touches in the last quarter. That kick over the top, Lepage, good take by Lepage, and again gets away from Blakey this time. Left foot to Lawrence in the pocket, and Lawrence almost, Pickett with him, back to Lawrence, Lawrence to Lynch, Lynch right up against the pocket, hooks the ball back in the direction of Dion Scott. Well done, McCartney. Robert Scott did very well too, to Mickey Martin. Martin belts it out wide. Fantastic play from north of the back. Stevens with the footy. No one really to kick it to. Kicks down the line, hoping to hug the boundary here. Brett Voss, slow motion, not good enough. Chandler's got it. Now he's got Harvey all on his own at centre half forward. Has it got the legs? It has. And Harvey's taken the mark about 30 metres from goal. Well, Brett Voss, I'm not sure what he was doing out there. Just had no energy at all, did he, when he went for the footy?
They looked like they had it covered, didn't they?
Well, he certainly looked like he had it covered, but it didn't happen. And North were able to bang it back to Harvey, who Robbo talked about earlier in the match as being an important goal kicker for them. He's got 25 this season. He's played 16 consecutive matches. He missed the first 2 matches of the season. He's been in every match since then, and he's kicked his first goal for the night. So North, as we get towards the end of this match, 15-23 to 11-12. So they're going to keep their percentage up pretty well by keeping the Lions' score down. And they've built a respectable total themselves. So the margin now is again out to 35 points.
Is Anthony Stevens one of the best accumulators you've seen, Tim, in the last 10 or 15 years? Just keeps getting the ball.
Well, it's just his work rate, though. His consistent work rate.
Unbelievable.
Very similar to Paul Kelly, actually. You know that at the end of the night, they're going to accumulate a certain number of possessions because they just keep working at that same rate right throughout. And although players can sit on them and they can hold them for a certain period of time, there's very few players in the competition that can hold those hard-running players like Stevens and Harvey and Kelly for the full 4 quarters.
Well, he's must just about rate again tonight. He's had 24 kicks and 4 handballs and just kept on pumping it forward, getting back to defend across the half-back line. McKernan wins the centre knockout. Voss's left foot kick. Dick Voss does reasonably well to Chris Scott. Chris Scott towards full forward, and Lawrence has got it again. So close to a final siren time. There's a minute and a half left. Stephen Lawrence, if he can kick accurately, will become, well, he already is the leading individual goal kicker on the ground with 4, but 5 out of 12. He's done well. Goes for goal, kicks, it comes around with the breeze, and he's got 5. Well, you'd have to say that Stephen Lawrence has done his job. He hasn't had that many chances, 15 possessions and 5 goals.
And it has been a night for the smaller mid-sized players. Really, the conditions have been difficult. It hasn't rained tonight, but they've had that strong wind down to the left of screen all night. Up the other end of the ground, the players have been kicking the ball in the air. It's been dropping short. And the bigger, taller players have really found it difficult to judge the ball in the air. And also the players, the general field kicking has been pretty poor, but it's been because of the wind and the difficulty in actually controlling the ball to boot.
Well, it was 29 points the margin at half-time, and that's the margin right now. Lions have got a chance to score again here. It's in the Lawrence area with David King. He's appealing for a free kick. He's going to get it. Well, he's absolutely conned the umpire, hasn't he?
Well, this is Lawrence's third opponent too. Scott had him originally, then Pickett's had a go at him, and now King's on him.
Well, has he talked the umpire into this?
Absolutely. Although he really didn't have much else in his mind other than taking the ball over the line.
Probably could have been deemed as a throw, actually. Kick across the face of goal. He has registered a score just behind, so 5 goals, 3 now to Stephen Lawrence, and the final siren imminent, just seconds left in the game. 113 plays 85, so a pretty good performance by the North Melbourne side. They were up against a Brisbane team that were going to come out fighting.
King's kick outside 50. Pickett, who's looked a little bit injured in the second half. He hasn't had quite his usual energy. McRae's handball to Chris Scott, to Brett Voss, gets around, straightens, kicks and might have got it. No, just missed. Just missing for Voss. And 12-14 to 15-23. Breeze has been strong all night. So Dennis Pagan, well, he's going to be pretty nervous, I think, about Glenn Archer and maybe 1 or 2 others, but particularly Archer. But he will be happy they've been able to come here and maintain a pretty firm grip, certainly on the top 4, no doubt about the top 4, and the top 2, which is so important that you can't go out in the first week of the finals. Champions kick is the last one of the match, and so North Melbourne win their 6th consecutive game, and with 3 rounds going into the finals, they're very well placed to make an assault on their 2nd premiership in 3 years. For the Lions, a bit better than what we've seen in recent weeks. They've been beaten by more than 10 goals in 3 of their last 3 matches, and I think Matthew Campbell might have Mark Roberts down there right now. Matty.
Yes, Bruce, thanks very much, Mark. A tough win, really.
Yeah, it was a battle, and we knew it was going to be. All the press that they've had this week, it's been pretty scathing both ways. So we knew we were up here for a battle, and we're just happy to get away with the win.
Case of the walking wounded, really, for North towards the end, wasn't it? A lot of knee injuries?
Yeah, it certainly was. There was a couple down, so it was a good win. It made it even better.
Back to form last week yourself. Enjoyed that game in Canberra and now running into the finals.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a little bit more form and carry it into the finals, but won't get kept too carried away with too many weeks ahead.
You never did, Fridge.
No, exactly, Matty.
All right, good on you, mate. Well done.
They know each other pretty well. Mark Roberts, who's played 195 games. He's 33 years of age, so he's 5 short of 200, which would be a tremendous performance by him if he can do it. Byron Pickett having a good old laugh there. North look to be pretty happy that they've been able to come up here and get the win. They would have been nervous, certainly the North Melbourne Brains Trust, about what had happened to Brisbane all week. The stakes were very high for a good showing from Brisbane. Alistair Lynch, thank you very much for your contribution as we see North Melbourne going through a bit better effort tonight.
Beneath the blue enjoy yourselves today. North Melbourne boys are hard to beat when they come out to play. So join in the chorus and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, the champions you'll agree. North Melbourne will be premiers in 1998.